Welcome to everyone in attendance and watching at home to the Summer Game Awards Fest 3, coming at you live from the legendary Stage Select Theater. I'm Keigh Geoffley, and for the next few hours, we're going to show you the best new games and speak to the executives that greenlit them. There's nothing wrong with this industry at all. No reason to be concerned or think about anything other than cool game reveals. Let's get right to it.
What's going on now? Okay. When did our theater become legendary? Like, we only have like 13 episodes, isn't it? 16?
Yeah, but they're real good episodes, Justin. I think it's fair.
What are we doing? Like, are we renting to people now? I mean, that's fine. I mean, if you're getting money for it, that's cool. You know?
Yeah, I was able to do this deal with Keigh Geoffley, the very famous game presenter.
Never heard of this.
Everybody knows Keigh.
Yeah. Okay.
And he came to me with a deal to set up the Stage Select Theater for the next Summer Game Award Fest 3, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, we can go ahead and do that. You were actually out of it was last week when everybody had the week off.
Good.
So
yeah,
that's when it happened. Right. So I meant to let you know ahead of time. I apologize for that.
That's fine. You don't gotta tell me anything. It's okay.
We'll just we'll just sit back here backstage, we'll do our thing. Hopefully it's not too chaotic out there and it doesn't interrupt us too much. But,
right.
There might be some moments of hype where we're just going to kind of have to let it play out, and then just kind of go back about our business afterwards because the hype will be so strong.
That's fine. Yeah. It'll be the old giant bomb things where we're just, in the back and watching what's happening and being dicks about it, I guess. I don't know. Can we be dicks about it? Will they be mad at us?
We can be dicks about it.
Okay, all right, that's good.
No, yeah, it's fine.
Because I'm going to be a dick about it. I'm just going to, it's just what I am.
Yeah, being a dick available on Steam now.
It's a good game.
It's
surprisingly good game.
Check it out.
Surprisingly good game. Yeah.
Actually, I think the next Steam, the next chapter should be on Steam in a couple months, so that's exciting.
Yeah, you can't remember when the last update that he posted was, but then I think you have this it doesn't matter. I've
checked a couple times in the news to see, but I think they're not really. He kind of does all the stuff on Patreon.
Yeah, that's what I got the impression of. Yeah,
yeah, but I think the last time that he did do something on Steam. Like a Steam announcement, it was actually seems like maybe around September or so.
Right.
So that's cool. Okay, so that's the framing bit, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're actually going to do tonight on the Stage Select is we're going to talk about not E3. I'm probably still going to call it E3 for the rest of the night because that's what this signifies, right? I will say, and we'll get into it later, it's a lot muddier now. It's a lot harder to follow, and that's got to change.
Right.
Real quick. There we go. Okay, you froze for a good long time.
I was like, I noticed myself. I was like, hold on a second, and then I switched cameras and was like, okay, wait a second, let me put it back on the other one. What the hell's going on with that? Okay, that's weird.
Justin's gotten so deep into the streaming thing. He has a ring light, y'all.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just do a thing here.
His eyes look so dreamy now, when you look at him.
Yeah. Then it just decided that it didn't want to pick up my fucking thing. Camera devices change. Oh, there we go. How do you know? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Okay.
Something going on with that there camera. I don't know what's going on with it.
Hopefully, man, it would be a really bad night for the Phantom to strike. That's all I'm going to say.
I have
we
to
have
look.
Keigh here doing his thing, like packed house. We've already recorded something today.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's just being funny. It did that earlier when we started. It just kind of went out, and I was like, oh, that's weird. I don't usually do that, but here we are. Maybe it's because I just refuse to update Windows. That's probably it.
Maybe. You're right to do so, though, because they're really going hard on that AI Copilot shit.
I'm sure
I've
they
got
are.
it disabled on mine, but I know that it's just an update away from being like, no, you're going to have this. And it's like, no, I am now going to disable this again until they make it to where I can't disable it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure that's, we're on our way there. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But, we're here.
Yeah. So this is always a really exciting time for me. Even again, as it's fragmented in the death of the actual E3, we now have Summer Games Fest, but this year in particular, I felt that like Jeff Keighley really needs to start making the deals to try to entice people to come under this umbrella. And it might take like actually making a show in the convention center like before, or something that's unified, because there were so many presentations that I couldn't keep up, because I was also out of town the weekend that all this stuff kicked off.
Right.
So I had to actually like catch up on it after the fact. Yeah. And I know I missed a lot of stuff. We're going to mainly focus on the actual Summer Game Fest opening night. Right. The Xbox showcase and Ubisoft Forward, and we might throw in some games here and there that as we think about them. But that's because that's what I saw.
That's all I saw too. So, I mean, that's what pretty much everybody else watched too, as far as I could tell. Yeah. So
there was I think 10 other presentations.
Yeah. I think last year there was about something similar like that. And I think a lot of people just went, oh, these other ones really don't have very much. And if they do, we can just talk about it otherwise. And that's really, we don't need to watch them all. Because I remember people watching that, what was it, that Coke Media one or whatever. And that was garbage. That was a garbage.
Oh, I don't even remember hearing about that one.
Yeah. Oh, it was bad. It happened. It was basically nothing. It was not good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I just want to say up front, because I have seen a ridiculous amount of negativity around the games shown here. Mm-hmm. And I'm so excited to talk about this stuff because I came away really jazzed about the games that I saw, the diversity of the games that I saw, the feeling that certain parts of the industry are actually pivoting in the ways that they need to pivot.
Right.
And I guess I kind of want to say up front, a couple things. One, it should go without saying that, yes, the industry is really fucked right now. There's a lot of bad shit going on.
Yeah.
With layoffs and acquisitions and the fallout of acquisitions.
Right.
And a lot of indications of that the way that things are working need to change. Mm-hmm. We know that. I wanted to focus on the actual games because there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I wanted to get out of the way. The other thing, and I'm speaking a lot to our actual listeners because as much as I love our listeners, they tend to be extremely cynical. But I also saw this cynicism just kind of across the board anywhere that I looked. And I just want to say that if you didn't come away with multiple things that really excited you or at least intrigues you, maybe you need to step away for a little bit and come back later. There was there's so much here that we're going to talk about that I think looks really cool and impressive. But again, also it's you've got your big AAA stuff, but one of the things that I really liked about this show is that I felt that that middle area is starting to be satisfied again.
It is. Yeah.
In a really cool way. Yeah. And also, I looked up a couple of the games and some of this stuff is coming out at really smart price points, which I'll get into when we talk about them. So it's okay, there are indicators here that maybe some people are realizing that there needs to be a pivot.
Right.
And that pivot is happening faster than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, it sucks that it feels really weird Sony did do a thing about a week before, but it didn't really feel like what it should have been. And I did hold out hope there was going to be more from them. The following weekend. And then Nintendo not doing anything felt really weird. And then, I felt that EA and maybe Square should have done something.
Yeah, I think Nintendo probably will do something. I mean,
It'll be like in August or something like that. Like so far removed.
It'll be like pretty within the month, actually. Like okay. I do. They usually it'll be like a couple days before, and people will be like, "Oh no, there's going to be a Nintendo Direct," and then all of a sudden there will be like. But
yeah. And I get the mentality of we want eyes on us, separately, but at the same time, there's something to be said about when everybody that is into this shit is focused at the same time.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's a big
it's
deal.
Kind of fun.
And it is. And it feels weird to have some of those major players like not doing anything or what have you. Or doing it.
Sony right now just felt like they didn't really have much going on. And
yeah, and that, so I had actually, I'll actually talk about this first.
Yeah,
like, I had written down like stuff that I felt was missing, from the show, or for lack of a better term, the Iron Man game I thought there would have been at least a teaser by now.
Squaresoft thing or Square Enix?
No, it's EA. It's EA actually. It's EA Motive.
Yeah.
Yes. The Wolverine game from Insomniac, like, they did have that leak, and somehow I ended up seeing some of that footage somewhere, and it looked decent. Like it looked like
where it was in development, if I remember right.
Yeah. I felt like they could have shown a little more of that. Like of actual gameplay this time. I still really want to see the IO James Bond game. Like I'm super interested to see what that is.
Yeah.
And I thought we would have seen that, especially when we get down to Xbox. There was something that they showed that I did not expect to see for a couple years.
Oh yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Everwild was noticeably missing from the Xbox thing. And then Sony games in general. There's definitely a discussion to be had about like announcing games too early, right? But I think Sony is in a weird position where it would probably benefit them to at least let people know what to expect, right? Like we know Naughty Dog's working on at least a couple games, but we don't know what those are.
Right.
We know Sucker Punch is working on something, probably Ghost of Tsushima 2, but it would be nice to have confirmation of that. What's Blue Point Games, the ones who did like the Demon Souls
all the remakes and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be working on something new, so like it would be nice to at least have a title, to go with that, right?
Yeah.
Or a genre,
right?
So it like that's, and I think that's the thing, right? Sony's been kind of coasting off the fact that they've had a lot of third party exclusives, and that's been doing really well for them, but like. As far as the first party.
And I'm wondering how long that's like that it feels like companies as Square Enix has come out and said like this maybe have been hurting us, the exclusivity.
I was so surprised when 16 was exclusive because you got to remember 13 and 15 were multi-platform.
Yeah.
And the only reason that 14 wasn't was because, that generation, Microsoft was very walled garden about their online stuff.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let 14 on the system, but Square wanted it on there.
Yeah.
Right. So, it was very nostalgic when they announced the PlayStation 5, and it was like, hey, look, Final Fantasy 16 exclusive on PlayStation. It's like, well, yeah, this has always been since 1997, this has been where I want to play Final Fantasy. Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. But I was actually surprised that
I think they're coming to that realization where they're like, this exclusivity thing is really kind of shooting us in the foot a little bit. Like I'm sure they're getting,
I still can't
their
believe
money,
that Remake isn't on Xbox already.
7, just Remake, not Rebirth, Remake.
Not Rebirth,
still not there. It's on PC. You can play it there, but not.
Yeah. And to me, I feel like once you port something to PC, it's pretty easy to port it to Xbox, at least from what I understand, because the architecture is so similar.
Probably. It's hard to say. You know? I don't know. But it's it's something. So
yeah. So we'll go through this. I've picked up some articles to try to curate this stuff. I gotta say I was pretty disappointed with I could not find a repository of everything shown in the last week. Nobody did that article.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So I couldn't find that. We'll start off with the actual Summer Games Fest thing. Okay. This comes from IGN, and they actually have the stuff in order. So we'll kind of scroll down here and talk about the stuff we want to talk about. I do have to say right off the bat, the first thing that was shown was Lego Horizon Adventures.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. I love Horizon.
Uh-huh.
And I don't understand why Horizon has become the punching bag that it has.
Yeah.
People will go, they will trip over themselves to slag the Horizon series.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah.
And it's like the only thing I can figure is because like, okay, the first game came out like within a month of Breath of the Wild. Second game came out within a month of Elden Ring.
Right.
But I say this more often. You can like more than one thing at a time, right? Elden Ring being like a fantastic game does not mean that Horizon Forbidden West has to suck. Right? Like you can enjoy them both. It's fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
But there is so the franchise is in a dangerous spot of overexposure, and even though there's only been 3 games, right? Yes. There's been 2 mainline games. There's been the VR game.
And like the VR game makes it to the moon sense. And it gets, it's in that spot.
This is where it like I don't think this is a good move.
I don't either.
It's a Lego game, but it's based on Horizon, and like you have Ashley Birch reprising her role as Aloy, but like the character is so not Aloy. She's like, "Oh, I'd be happy to help," and it's like that's not. Aloy's got to be a little annoyed. She's like Kiryu when it comes to helping people. She's like, okay, I'm going that way anyway. Right. I'll go ahead and I'll do this fetch quest for you because you can't be bothered. Like that type of thing. And here she's just like so happy go lucky and like I don't know. It's a weird fit. And
well, I mean, it probably goes along with I think they have like Lego sets of the big robots, right? So yeah, I'm guessing there was a deal in place for this already. So
for sure, yeah. And then there's also that like ongoing rumor about there being like a remake of the first game coming out for PS5, which is like a dumb idea, right?
So like, it might be.
Like, and I really worry about because I love this franchise. And
it's a cool franchise, but it's like you said, that overexposed. They push it to the moon, and like I'm not sure people want it to be that way. Like there's no, I don't know. It's like you said, it kind of becomes the punching bag. And them doing this does not help their case of getting it over a little bit. It's almost like it's almost like the Roman Reigns, circa 2018 or whatever, where they're
you got to make Horizon look real strong.
We got to make Horizon look strong. It's got to go over everybody. And it's just like but we don't want that. Where's Wolverine or whatever, like where's this? And yeah, it's in a tough spot right now. Like after the last Horizon, like if they would showed like the new one, like I don't even know how on board
I haven't even played the DLC for the second one yet. Yeah. So I did see footage of it on a PlayStation Access video a couple weeks ago, and I was like, man, because the DLC is only for PS5, so they were able to like push things even further. And I was like, that looks really good. Like, I do kind of want to jump into that. Not right now. There's too much stuff to play, but eventually I do want to play through that stuff. And I, if they had shown like a teaser trailer for the third game, I would have been excited because I want to see where that story goes. But at the same time, like it's an issue. And it's weird with Sony because it's like, on one hand, they seem to have gotten it into their head that like they need to focus on the same stuff all the time, right? So it's like you have Last of Us, right, where they did like the Last of Us 1 remake, then they did like the Last of Us 2 remastered, even though that came out in 2020, right? There's rumors of the Horizon remake, and then of course you had like basically once Guerrilla made Horizon, that's all they've been able to do, right? But at the same time, it's like, but every time that Sony has like done like has taken a chance on a new IP, it's hit, right? So going back as far as Bloodborne, right? Because that's a Sony IP, right? Yeah, big hit. Then you have obviously The Last of Us, right? You have Horizon. You have it's not a new IP, but like the reimagining of God of War did really well. Ghost of Tsushima did really well, and it's like so you have all these examples of like them. Releasing like either new IP or new reimaginings of IP. Yeah. But it seems like they're really hesitant to have more new IP, and that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's tough because then you also have people being like, well, where's the next God of War and where's the next Last of Us? So you have those people just screaming from mountaintops that expect these things, and so it becomes tough to when those studios are like, well, we want to do a new like Naughty Dog, it sounds like they want to do something that isn't The Last of Us. Like when you when I hear them say things, I'm like, it sounds like they're either working on something that's not The Last of Us right now, or they really want to be. Like, because I feel like they're we just want to go away from it for a little bit. Like, we're tired of it.
But the inkling that I get is that it's probably another Uncharted game, and that's not the solution either, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but at the
you
same
want to see them do something new.
At the same time, it's been a while, so I could see,
it has.
and it's going to make
it's been almost 10 years now, so I get it.
And sadly, we're the minority though. Like, that's just the case. People want the same old shit. Like, I hate. Well, a lot of the time.
It's so weird. And this goes back to kind of my talking about like the cynicism around all of this stuff, because it's like, you have people like literally when I was looking for like a codified list of everything revealed, like the first thing that I saw was a Redditor saying like, oh man, this is like the worst show I've seen in ages. Like, it was just a bunch of AAA slop, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, there was so much like really interesting indie stuff shown. And there was like, there was a lot of AAA stuff, but there's also like a lot of like, what used to be AA stuff. Like I think this show more than in a long time has shown like just a lot of different types of games, and it got me so jazzed, which we'll talk about, so I'm actually scrolling pretty far into the Summer Games thing so far. I've gotten down to the Street Fighter 6 reveal, which we will not spend 45 minutes about. If you want that, go listen to Castle Super Beast.
Yeah, that was I mean, that's cool that they got Terry Bogard and
Terry Bogard and Mai
that's
from
cool.
Fatal Fury. That's neat.
I will go back into Street Fighter 6 to play that. That's awesome.
Yes. They've never actually had guest characters, and so that's pretty exciting.
Haven't. Now that I think about it, that's pretty cool. The only one that you maybe skipped over that I'm actually excited about is fucking Civ 7 is coming out.
I was wondering.
Yeah,
okay, yes, it's like, cool that they announced it. I've never played it.
I'm hyped to play that. That
cool.
I got real into 6 for a little bit.
Okay,
and I keep like, there's a temptation almost always to like, I should boot that up again and see what happens. Because like, that was a game where like, I started it up and then suddenly it was the morning, and then I think I might have stayed up 2 days straight playing it. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, it was really bad. But I was having a blast. Those are good.
I got excited when I saw that there was a Batman Arkham thing, but it's only for the Meta Quest.
Oh boy.
So
that's everybody's favorite thing.
And look, I loved the Arkham PSVR game.
Yeah.
Like, it was great. But if I can't play this on PSVR 2, I'm like, okay, well, I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm going to tie 2 of these together because I think they occupy the same space. And this is one of the things that I got very excited about as far as the industry goes.
Okay.
So Blumhouse, like the person behind Blumhouse Films came out and announced that they were starting a game studio, like a publishing arm, to publish indie horror games.
Yes.
And like, that's really smart, right? Because Blumhouse has had a lot of success with horror movies lately, right? And they've probably seen the success that Annapurna Interactive has had, with their kind of like, I guess I would almost call them prestige indies, right? Like, they put enough money behind them to get like some like actors involved and stuff like that, and they have curated some interesting games, even if one of them is 12 minutes.
Even that's like interesting to play. I mean,
I think everybody who saw the trailer was really interested in that, and then we actually played the game.
Really cool concept. It's just some things in there are just bad. What do you want from me? That's just basically it.
Yeah, but I think this is really cool, and they showed off a bunch of really interesting looking horror games.
Yeah.
The tricky part here is how quickly they publish them one after another.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need to let them breathe. But at the same time, like, there has definitely been a bigger appetite for this type of horror, right? You got stuff like Signalis, what was that, last year or the year before? I think it was the year before. Crow Country this year.
Yeah.
There's bit, and of course, like the Dead Space remake.
It's always the one indie ones that I always find really fascinating are made. I think it's just a one-man team. You ever seen a Puppet Combo game?
I don't think so.
you should check out Puppet Combo Games. They're really cool. They're all like PlayStation 1 style. Like that's just what they do their games in. But they are scary as shit. Like they kind of nail it. Like it's really good. Like they're
I am a little concerned about the sudden like PlayStation 1 nostalgia play with indies.
To be fair,
because
they were doing that for a long time before that became,
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's like, I think for me it's more of like, look, there's a reason why I want PS1 games to be remade, because it's really hard to go back to PS1, and I get the nostalgia for it, but at the same time it's like I think it's like how I am with like indies that are trying to do like the 16-bit thing, and it's like, well, I was there at the time,
right.
So like, you know, I don't necessarily need a lot more of this unless but I have yet to see like a game that's aping the PlayStation style, but doing beyond what the PlayStation could do. Like they are so faithful with the replication of it that they even replicate the flaws. And that's kind of where, you know, I take a little issue with it, but it's fine. You know, it is an aesthetic. It's a valid aesthetic.
Yeah.
But going along with this, the other thing that was announced a little bit later, so I'm going to scroll down just a little bit, is the studio that made Among Us.
Right.
So, you know, if people don't know the story of Among Us, right, it came out to a resounding thud. Like, it didn't get any traction whatsoever when the game was released.
Right.
The pandemic hits, and suddenly people discover Among Us, and it becomes a massive success, right? That is still very successful to this day. And so the team, I think it's just a man and woman. Like, I don't know if they're a couple or not.
No.
But they said, hey, our game had a chance that we didn't think that it was going to get, and we were very successful, and now we want to invest that money into helping other indies get that audience and find that success.
Right.
And that is, again, a very smart thing to do. And and they showed off like a bunch of really interesting looking indie games, like under this new label called Outer Sloth. And I think that's kind of some of the stuff that the industry needs to do, right? Is you need to kind of go back to like a very focused publisher type scenario where the publisher has like a set goal.
Right.
And that's kind of their wheelhouse, and it's being operated by people who can find who knows what to sign for, you know, under that umbrella. Right. And I think the Blumhouse announcement and also this kind of they kind of fit hand in hand with that. And it will bring more profile to these smaller games. And I think that's great for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, one thing that you scrolled past that I actually I need to ask about, because I don't know if it's available anywhere. Okay. That first Descendant game, right?
I'm very interested.
Me too. I don't know what it is. Like, I'm like, okay, so what is like the actual game? Because the trailer was cool. Like,
yes, it is a free to play, third person Destiny.
Third person, okay, I'm in. Because I was like, okay, these character designs look cool. Shooter. If it's first person, I'm kind of out. But yeah,
right,
all right,
yeah. And so that's the thing. It's funny because like I want to say it's a Korean game. I could be wrong.
It's Nexon, so I believe might be. I can't remember where they're from. Nexon.
It might be China.
It might be a Chinese company. Let me look.
There's a lot of games coming out from some region. I'm not sure where it is, but like it's like the graphics are always amazing, and the designs are kind of
they are
cool and boring at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that they are South Korean. You're right.
South Korean. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So like I'm talking about like, you know, Stellar Blade, you know, this Last Descendant.
Yep.
Right. There was like another one shown at the PlayStation thing a couple weeks ago that had a similar vibe where it's like, you know, they kind of look the same, but they all look very high quality and very interesting to play. Yeah. And so I do want to check this out, even though
if it's free to play in a third person thing, it almost sounds like what's that war oh boy, the thing with the suits, oh boy, the fucking
yes, god damn,
Warframe. Yeah, we both thought of it at the same time.
Yeah,
it kind of like sounds like that. So Warframe with anime girls sounds okay. I'll play that. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm not gonna at least look into it. You know. I might look into it and go, okay, never mind. But but it seems interesting. Like I said, that trailer I was like, this is kind of all right. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you.
Yeah. All right. Well, next up, we've got another look at a highly anticipated game coming out this fall from the makers of the legendary Duke Nukem franchise. We have a new trailer for Duke Nukem versus Middle Age. Let's take a look. Duke Nukem is back, like you've never seen him before, having a midlife crisis. This Bugatti is my entire personality now. See one of the greatest gaming icons tackle his greatest challenge yet. Dating over the age of 30. So I swipe right on every girl, right? I've swiped right on like 1,000 girls and not a single match. It's the most real game ever made. Sheila, I just need to tell our son how I feel. Fuck you, Duke! Duke Nukem versus Middle Age. Coming soon. Viagra kicks ass. Okay, kind of in the same vein, Justin, as that
it's Duke Nukem
as the first as the first Descendant. Oh. Mecha Break looks really cool, dude.
Yeah, that does look pretty neat. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I probably won't mess with because it seems very multiplayer.
It does seem very multiplayer, and that's kind of my because I know I'm gonna suck ass at that game. But man, those mech designs and
they're really cool.
I like a transforming mech, my friend.
Transforming mech's pretty all right.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie to you. Yeah.
That looks really nice.
That looks all right. Yeah. No, that game looked awesome. I have to say.
This is old news, but I'm glad that it finally happened. The Alan Wake 2 DLC was announced and then dropped almost at the same time. I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm very looking forward to doing so.
Yeah.
You get your first bit of Jessie Faden involved in an Alan Wake thing, so that's exciting.
You knew it had to happen at some point.
Yeah. She has a brief cameo in Alan Wake 2 on a TV, but
oh, really?
She does, yeah. But this is actually like her. Although I kind of get the impression because this is supposed to be set in the Night Springs television show that it's not our Jessie Faden, so I'm not expecting to be levitating and doing like telekinetics and stuff like that.
Right.
That'd probably be a little outside the scope of this DLC.
Yeah, probably.
And I already have it. I got the deluxe edition, so nice. I just need to fire it up.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't care about Skate. But
I mean it's cool that they're still doing it though.
Yeah. Oh, I actually am curious about this. What did you think of the Slitterhead gameplay that they showed?
That game looks neat,
right?
Looks pretty neat. Like that game looks pretty neat. Yeah, no, absolutely.
It is nothing of what I was expecting, especially from like that team. Oh, I am so intrigued.
That is not what I thought it was going to be at all.
Yeah,
and then they start showing it. I'm like, what the fuck? This is kind of weird.
Yeah, like, you got sole possession of multiple characters, but it's also got like character action stuff going on, and like weird like quasi-platforming by jumping from person to person.
A man lost his arm and then reconnected his arm in the middle of the fight. And I was like, all right, I probably it'll probably scare me too much to play it, but I'm into fucking seeing whatever that is. But then again, it might not be that bad. I don't know. It's one I'm going to have to look at. Yeah.
The teaser looked like they were going for old school Silent Hill scares.
Absolutely.
This looks not that.
No, it doesn't.
So we shall see. But
indeed.
And so we'll get into release dates at the end of the show. But this is due out this year, so that's cool. I will say that like the back half of the year is now looking extremely full
for sure.
So at least for me. Oh. I really liked Killer Bean.
That was something. Yeah, for sure. That was something.
Yeah. It looks like, you know, like a really fun, like Max Payne style over the top third person action, but using beans and it looks like they're also trying to like spoof like various game and movie genres. So I'm curious.
also, this is kind of a weird one, but I'm also half curious, and I'm not sure if I'll get to it or not, but that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I remember like kind of passing on the first one for whatever reason, but like it might be cool. Like,
so
like,
yes. So Kingdom Come Deliverance was interesting in the sense that it got almost universally blacklisted by media.
Yeah.
Because the like the lead designer, I think, was like a big time Gamergator.
Yeah, something like that. I remember that now that you mention it. Yeah. Okay.
He had some really shitty politics. My feeling was that like, but that's one person, right?
Right.
And it's funny because I actually had like, I was watching Galgura. She did a stream of it a couple weeks ago. And so I was watching her play it. And it's pretty interesting because it's a medieval like hero story, but they're trying to keep it as grounded in reality as they can. So it's like,
right.
You are not going to be taking on like 4 dudes at once with your sword and coming out on the other side. Right. Like, right. You got to pick your battles. You got to,
I remember the first one seeming neat, and I remember that's why I passed on it. Now that you mention it, it's been so long that I kind of forgot about it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I wouldn't mind checking it out. And I did think the trailer looked pretty neat. Although tone wise, it almost seemed like it was trying to do that thing where it's like, we're in medieval times, but we're going to make it sound like today. Like I almost expected him to be like well, that happened, type of
might
thing.
Be. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that one pans out. Like I said, I might check it out. I might not. That's kind of how I always am with that particular series. It seems like.
Yes.
Kind of surprised it got a sequel after all of that, but I guess
it sold really well.
It must have.
And now I'm wondering if it sold really well in the way that Hogwarts Legacy sold really well, right. Where the worst people bought it.
Yeah, right.
As like a protest purchase.
As a protest, right? Yeah.
But I also don't want to take like the game looks good. Like I don't want to take anything away from it.
Yeah, it might be really cool. That's why I keep saying. I'll wait and see on that one.
Yeah. What did you think of Wanderstop?
Which I'm looking at it and I don't remember what it was. Hold on. Is that the one that's made by the Stanley Parable one? Yes. Okay. I actually want to really play this. This looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
At first I was like, okay, it's like a tea shop game. All right.
Yeah, it's a cozy game, and then
I was immediately like, and then I was like, all right. Now I want to know where that goes. So I'm in. That seems cool.
Yeah. Because like the concept is that like she's a fighter who's for some reason stopped in this town and she's running this tea shop, but she wants to get back out there, and she like takes a rest on a bench and then starts having these like weird hallucinations. And it's like, is that what's actually going on, or is she having like PTSD related to like when she was a fighter?
They did that. Trailer was great.
Yes.
Like I'm in. Like,
I want to check that out.
Like I said, the beginning of it, I was kind of like, okay, it's a tea shop game. And I honestly, like, there's some times where like you just look at a trailer like, I don't care about this. And I start looking at my phone or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that was one of those games. And then like slowly I'm like, wait a second, what is this exactly? I was like, all right, this actually seems pretty fucking cool. I'm not going to lie to you. So yeah, that game looks neat.
And I love the Stanley Parable. So like, I'm expecting this to like swerve in some really interesting ways.
Yeah, that's a cool game.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see. And
it's just like Monster Hunter.
Well, I will say Monster Hunter looks fantastic.
Oh, it looks cool. Yeah.
And I might actually end up picking this one up. I had intended to buy Worlds and I never did.
Yeah, I learned from Worlds it's probably not my thing.
Right.
But like it does look cool. You know?
And this one might be more your thing because from what I've understood and from listening to people who got hands on with it, it seems like they've lowered a lot of those barriers to entry to like actually just get into playing the game. And one of the big things is like it is now a full world instead of you loading into these zones and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's like in town you can actually mount up and just take off like you would in an MMO and like head out. And I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of quality of life stuff they've added to this game. So we'll see. Like I'll wait for reviews because if it's just as complex as the other games are, I might end up waiting for a sale or something.
Yeah, it's one of the. It might be because it's a Monster Hunter still. Yeah. So
or if it's still a game where it's like you can theoretically solo it, but really like you're gonna have a bad time that way.
Yeah, that's what Monster Hunter. That's what World came off like. It's like you can do this, and I was like, okay, all right, I get it.
Yeah. But after from what I've seen, what I've seen and played of Dragon's Dogma 2, it seems like they're getting like the right, like they're getting there, right? Like, and I think they're like with each of their games, and I mean this even across like Resident Evil and Street Fighter and stuff like that. Yeah. Like every one of their games seems to build off the previous one, and they seem to be learning like really good lessons from them.
Yeah, Capcom's doing real cool stuff right now. Like,
they really are.
Yeah, even when I'm like not super interested in something, I'm still like fascinated to see what it is.
Yes. Case in point, Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess, right? Like, and I think this is very smart. It is coming to Game Pass, so that super lowers the barrier of entry for a lot of players. But also, it's like a $50 game, so it's like they seem to be positioning this where it needs to be. And I'm hoping that it finds an audience. I am actually really interested in this. I don't know if I'm going to ultimately dig it, but I definitely want to play it. And again, it being on Game Pass, I will definitely check this out. And it's coming soon. Right. It's coming in July. Oh
yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I mean, why not? I got nothing to do in July, so fuck it.
Yeah. I'll probably still be on the Elden Ring DLC, but I'll take time out for Kunitsugami.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I probably will not play the Elden Ring DLC. I will probably watch somebody play it and be very happy that I'd be like, yep, that's really cool still.
Yeah.
Really cool. And then they played more Phantom Blade Zero or whatever.
Okay. See, that is the tone I find very interesting, because that is the tone that I also got from everyone else. Yeah. This is the game that last year people were losing their fucking minds over.
No, it was cool. Yeah, it's still cool.
No, but that's the thing is, like, all of a sudden, like, people are like, oh, that. And I'm like,
I didn't mean for it to come off like that, Julian. I apologize.
No, but I'm glad you did, because that is the exact vibe that I have seen everywhere else. And I'm like, I don't know what games you're looking at. This thing looks incredible. And because last year I was like, that can't be real. That's not how this game plays. I remember
we must having this exact same conversation where I was like, that thing looks pretty cool. And you're like, I don't know, Justin. And I was like, all right, well, we'll see what happens. And you brought up some good points at the time. And I was like, okay, you're right. Let's wait and see. And then like they showed more here. I was like, this game still looks pretty fucking cool. I'm not going to lie to you.
This looks like what they're, I'm like, okay, I'll eat the crow. Like
I'm down.
Yeah. I
random
think this looks
video
really
game
cool.
Developer I've never heard of. I'm down. Let's go.
It feels like it's going more for like the Sekiro style, but with more of a character action game. And one thing that I was so happy to see, Justin, because I watched someone playing the demo, like the tutorial.
Okay. Yeah.
Square is your attack button.
Oh, that's nice. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
There you go.
As God intended.
Yeah.
Because it looks like a much faster paced game than a Souls game. So like, I'm fine with it in kind of the slower, more methodical combat that From does.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of makes sense there,
Yes. But when you want me doing like a 5-hit string, like I don't want to do that on my R1 button.
Yeah.
I just don't.
From like the Dark Souls stuff where it's like the combat's very deliberate. I kind of like how they set it up, because it's almost hand specific. You know, like your right trigger is for your right hand, your left stuff is for your left hand.
Yes.
And you mix and match from there, and it makes sense in that game. But yeah, when it's something like you're swinging a two-handed katana and that's all you got, it's like, okay, well, maybe there's a different way to do it. But
exactly.
From is really stuck on that control scheme. That's what they do, and they do it well, I guess. So I can't.
Yeah,
really
and again,
them,
like I've been wanting to go back to Sekiro, but Sekiro is to me a lot faster paced, and so I could see that being an issue for me still.
You should try that Rise of the Ronin game. Like, I mean,
it's on my wish list on PlayStation.
Yeah, if you see it on sale or something, like, because I'm pretty sure the controls are like square is an attack and triangle is an attack. Mm-hmm. Is a strong attack. So,
or you can at least set it that way, because that's how Stranger of Paradise was, where I was able to remap it to that.
I'm pretty sure those are the controls, like just default. Oh, okay. Like, nice. Maybe I'm wrong. It's been a little bit since I've touched it, but. I had a good time with it. I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to finish that game, but it was fun.
Yeah.
For what it was.
For sure.
All right.
So yeah, that's the Summer Games Fest stuff. All right. Well, thank you, Kojima-san. That was a really amazing 10 minutes there. That was a lot of fun. Next up, coming to the stage to talk about his new game, Actual Darkness, Zane Brickhouse from Dark Eclipse.
Hey there, everyone. My name is Zane Brickhouse, and I'm here for Dark Eclipse Games. We took a look at, games out there, and we just said, they aren't hard enough. They're just not hard enough. So we have devised a new world for you to go around and, slash things up in. And it's the darkest world we can come up with. All right, because we're tired of games being bright and cheery all the time. So we made a game where the sun doesn't shine anymore. All right, it's just a world of eternal night all the time. So you go down into this hole, and that's we'll show the trailer here.
This is the sound of fire. Wow, that looks really nice. I really like the look of that, Zane.
Well. I mean, I can't believe you actually seen anything. I mean, it's very dark.
It's dark, but.
Yeah. Well, we really tried to, just make it black. If you could see anything, we were doing it wrong. So it's a world, there's no torches or light sources. And, you just have to stumble around because, when you play a Souls-like game, eventually you can see what's coming. So we just don't want you to see anything at all.
That's interesting. I mean, I guess there is something to be said about what happens in, what your brain fills in for the blanks.
Right.
I could have sworn, though, because I feel, and this has nothing to do with the fact that I'm just basically an automaton up here spewing out, buzzwords, but I felt like the graphics looked, really polished. Am I wrong?
Well, we'll have to work on that. We'll just have, we'll turn the darkness down so nobody can see anything when the game comes out. But thank you for your input. It's very early. We're in the alpha stage right now. So we'll see you guys at the next one of these, and we'll have more to show you then. Thank you.
Thank you, Zane. That's the first time that I've met Zane Brickhouse, and he comes off a lot different than I expected from a guy named Zane Brickhouse that works at Dark Eclipse. But, that's the beauty of Summer Game Award Fest 3, is you never know what you're going to get. All right, so moving right along to the Microsoft stuff.
All right.
So before we get into it, and so we're going off of the actual Xbox website for this. So it's not, they don't have it listed. I think it's actually in alphabetical order, so it's not going to be in the order that it was presented, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I will say that I really, man, I could not believe how tone deaf the actual presentation was.
Dude, are you? Yeah, I agree. The stuff around the trailers, I was like, you guys, really? You're just gonna put Matt Booty up there right now?
Dude.
Really? Just put him right on stage, front and center? Honestly?
When Phil came out, I was like, holy shit, they actually had Phil come out, huh? After all that shit.
After all this, yeah.
Well, you know what? Okay. But when he didn't come back, after the first trailer, I was like, okay, he is the boss of the games division, so it makes sense. It's fine.
Fair. Yeah, that's fine.
But when you bring out fucking Matt Booty and Sarah Bond...
are you kidding me? Oh, no.
Having the audacity to talk about, how much they value their teams and shit.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Get a fucking job, guys.
You guys, no, that's... I was like... I was holding my head I was like, oh... Why are you doing this?
I could not believe it. So, because Phil at least has the ability to talk to people on a human level, he can sound like a regular human, and I do believe him as a person who's passionate about video games and right. Blah blah blah. Matt Booty and Sarah Bond are the boilerplate executive level C-suite people that have no concept of how to relate to anybody like on the ground. And they just like, no.
Yeah, no, don't put them out there. Yeah, no, I couldn't. I was like, here's where those guys take the fucking week off or whatever.
Yes, the best. And they did interviews after the fact too, which is like, no.
That's insane. I didn't watch that stuff.
Holy
shit.
I didn't either. I just heard about it. But like, the best thing to do for this presentation would have been, okay, you get Phil out there and he's like, you know what?
Fine.
You don't want to hear from me this, for this. Like we're going to let our developers talk.
There you go.
And then you bring out, of course they're going to have some media training, but maybe you don't bring out the most media trained person from each studio.
Right.
Maybe you just bring someone who knows what they're talking about, right? And let them talk about their games. I will say, to rewind real quick, my biggest problem with the Summer Game Fest thing was it was paced really weirdly. Where it felt very fast, and like some of the stuff would be only shown for like a minute or so with like, and no explanation of it. Like there were far less of like people coming out to talk about what you just saw. And that felt very strange.
Keighley seems to have this problem with almost everything he does.
Yeah.
Like the Game Awards are the same way, where they're like I'm like, guys, just give it a little bit more time to breathe. Like half the time I'm like, it's not live TV.
Exactly. You're not right.
You don't have to do it like this. It's okay. I remember seeing somebody make the criticism of this, like, I can't believe the trailers are longer than like a full feature film. I'm like, but there's a lot of games. Like, it's fine. Like, you don't have to sit here and watch all of it, now or whatever.
Yeah.
You're doing it because you cover this shit. Whoever it was that I read that from, I get it that, the trailers are like I'm like, there's a lot of games. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can do this. You can pace it out a little bit more. But yeah, I remember the second to last thing before Monster Hunter went on in the Summer Games Fest thing was that fucking weird mobile commercial. You remember that?
That went on forever, dude.
And it kept going? Yeah. Yeah, it was weird.
There were a couple times where it made me laugh, right? They got good celebrities to be in it, right? Like, but yeah, it was like, and it felt weird where it was placed. Like, if it had been like smack dab in the middle, that would have made more sense.
I wonder if that's what was, keeping the lights on, was putting that game right there in that spot. You know what I mean?
So there was a story, and this surprised me, but I guess it makes sense. But there's a story that came out right before the Summer Game Fest, where apparently like it's something like almost $500,000 for like a 2-minute trailer, like, to be shown here.
Yeah,
and same thing for the Game Awards. And I was like, I kind of always got the impression that like Keighley was kind of highlighting the stuff that he had seen that he was like excited about, and the money was coming from the sponsors and the ads, right? And I was like, okay, no, it does make sense, right? But I was a little surprised by it, and it definitely colors the whole thing in a different light.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
It certainly does. Yeah.
Other game that was missing, now that I think about it, was Judas. I expected to see more of Judas, because people did actually play it recently.
That was that's
the Ken Levine
BioShock.
the
Ken Levine game. Right. Yeah, the BioShock one. Right. Yeah.
I also expected to see, we're getting to Microsoft. I was surprised that Clockwork...
that was the one I kept waiting to see more of. And they never showed any of it. Yeah, the one I forgot what the name of it is already now.
It's Clockwork something.
Clockwork something.
We just talked about it a couple weeks ago because
I remember.
Yeah, because you said it was from the Wasteland developers, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And and when you talked about it, like, you said it was supposed to be out in like this summer, and I was like, okay, well, I would have expected to see a lot of it here.
Now, I remember that now that I said it. And, if I know, man.
One other thing before we move into the Xbox stuff that I thought was interesting, and I didn't see a lot of people talking about this. I feel that like there's a lot more actual gameplay showed this year, kind of across the board.
Yeah,
or at least like clearly in-engine stuff, as opposed to just CG.
I wasn't yelling, "What is this game?" a lot of the time.
Yes.
As much as I normally am. Like, most of the time, they'll show me like a camera angle. I'm like, okay, got it. I know what this game is. Okay, that you can now set your tone. That's fine.
Yeah. There was like a 4-minute trailer for some sci-fi type thing that I saw on YouTube like a couple months ago, and the whole time I was like, "What is this supposed to be?" And I had no answers at the end.
Uh-huh. I keep thinking it might have been Ubisoft or something that had something very similar. There's definitely one. It might have been in this exact thing, but as we're going through it, I'll maybe remember it. Where I was like, I don't know what this game is. You're not really selling me on this,
right?
Yeah. But
I actually am going to take a second out to mention Age of Mythology Retold as the first thing on this page, simply because it looks like I don't really play these types of games, but this one looks like it might be one that I could get into.
Right. This was the what is it exactly? It's like a Populous or a Civ type game, but it looks actually a little bit like it's taking some cues from Black and White, where you can actually like have the god that you're, worshipping, like kind of take the field and smite your enemies and stuff like that. It was kind of like it looked more like an RTS. Kind of.
Well, I got the sense it was more of like a city builder with some RTS elements.
Well, it's the Age of Empires stuff.
Is that RTS? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and there was another RTS that was shown at some point where I was like, you know what? That actually looks like something that I could possibly play. And I'm terrible at RTS. Like I get scared of them.
That the one you're thinking of, I can't remember when was that one. That might have been Summer Games Fest, where
Possibly.
a guy came out and showed and I forgot what the hell the name of it was. It was hold on, now I'm going back there because I think I know which one you're talking about. I think it might be one of those games that has a really bad name. Something about fighting. I remember that. No. Nobody even remembers that the game's coming out. Oh boy. Oh geez. We're all in for it now. Maybe it wasn't here. Maybe it was in Ubisoft's thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, okay. We'll move
look.
on.
Yeah. We're also gonna, at the end of this, we're gonna like actually look at upcoming releases, so it might jog our memory then.
Yeah, it might do that. Yeah.
I only looked at the trailer for Avowed. I know they showed some more gameplay like after the fact, but I'm already sold. I think Avowed looks great.
On that game. Yeah, that game looks awesome.
Yeah,
for
People
sure.
People are really down on it, and I don't understand why. I think it looks great.
It's probably Bethesda fucking fans that are just like, well, it's not going to be, Skyrim. And you're like, no, it's going to be probably better than it, but okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what there would be to be like down about it. What are they saying about it? I'm curious.
Pat on Super Beast was really down on it. He said it looked old. And to me, it's like, it looks, to me, Avowed is very much to Elder Scrolls what Outer Worlds was to Fallout, which is a really polished looking one of these that seems like it plays well, which is what I've wanted.
Yeah, it looks more like that. I guess I could see that from the game. See, I always like give games like this a little bit of a pass on that sort of thing.
Sure.
When they downscale their graphics, it's like, hey,
but I think the graphics look fantastic.
It looks fine. I think it's going for a thing, right?
I like that it's like very bright and it's got like a style to it. It doesn't look like just like bog standard fantasy.
But see, if for whatever people think its lack of graphics is, if you pack that full of like cool dialogue things, which Obsidian is known for, and all like branching paths and shit like that, and how different everything can go, that's cool. Do that. I don't need it to be the best looking game ever. That's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah. They did start off this with the Call of Duty.
I was going to say, you might expect me to skip this, but I am so in.
Oh, yeah.
I am so in, Justin. And so one thing is that, like, so I played Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and I played about half of 3. Okay. I had no idea that there was a 4 and 5. So when they said Call of Duty Black Ops 6, I was like,
okay,
what?
Yeah.
A lot of people have been giving this a ton of shit because it's pulling from, like, the Gulf War and, like, the Clinton presidency and even 9/11 and stuff like that. And I don't understand that because I don't see movies getting the same shit when they go, that recent with stuff.
Well, Julian, keep the politics out of our video games. Okay?
What am I even talking about? Yeah. Like, I really hope that the Metal Gear remake doesn't get political.
Yeah. Fucking dipshit.
Well, let's be fair. Dan Reichert said that shit years ago about the Metal Gear franchise as a whole. So, some people just don't get it. Yeah. But no, I think this looks great. Like it's on Game Pass, so like that's a no-brainer for me. I think that's very smart. I'm only going to play the campaign, and I'm going to finish it in 6 hours, and I'm going to be, and then we'll see where that lands on my list at the end of the year.
And that's kind of like the great thing about having that on like Game Pass. Yeah, is like, oh yeah, cool. I can just play the campaign, and then I don't have to look at it again. And I know that I suck at it. I don't need to go online. I don't need other people to tell me that. I don't need an 8-year-old to fucking shoot me in the back of the head and then dance on my corpse. I don't need that in my life,
Yeah. Doom the Dark Ages, which did get slightly leaked right before the show. And what I had gotten from that leak actually threw me off when they showed the trailer, because I was expecting it to be a melee-focused Doom game, which I was kind of excited about. I was like, yo, we're going to be like Doomslayer with like swords and axes and shit? That sounds badass.
Right.
But like the first thing he picks up is a shotgun. I'm like, oh, okay, no, it's a Doom game. But there were 3 things in this trailer that they showed that got me so wet. The first is that the very first shot from that shotgun that's fired deletes 50% of a demon's body. Yeah. And I was like, that's a strong shotgun. That's a real strong shotgun.
It's real good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Second thing is, what if you were Captain America with a chainsaw shield?
Yeah. That did look pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. That was pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And then last but certainly not least, also, what if Doom Guy, like, got into a Pacific Rim Jaeger and, like, fights giant kaiju demons? And I'm like, sold.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
I actually kind of want to, it's going to be on Game Pass, but it's like, I kind of want to pay money for that just to, like, support this.
Yeah, it looked cool.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about, like, taking, like, Doom Guy and building all this, like, backstory lore to it, where it's like, oh, he wasn't actually a human. He was actually from another planet, fighting the demons as their hero, blah blah blah. It's like I kind of liked the vibe of the 2016 game more, where he's just a dude, but he killed so many demons and now they're afraid of him.
Yeah,
I like that better. I don't know, and I didn't play all of Eternal, but I saw enough of it to see them starting to seed some of that lore into the backstory.
Gotcha.
I don't know if I need that, but the game itself looks cool.
Right. Yeah, it does look cool. Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah.
Well, Fable's up next.
I want to ask you what you thought of Fable before I say anything.
It's complicated.
Also, real quick, how do you feel about Fable as a series? Because I think that's important.
Oh, I really like Fable as a series.
Okay.
I played all 3 of them and really liked all of them for the most part. I mean, it's
they
not
all have
perfect,
issues, but
I was just going to say it's not a perfect franchise by any stretch, but I enjoyed all 3 of them.
Yes, me too.
To varying degrees. This one, I think it looks good.
Me too.
I have some. I think the trailers that they're putting out there are setting the tone that I think they want to set, and that's fine. I think they're focusing on the things that I don't really care about in Fable. Like they're like, here's like the story that's happening, and I'm like, Fable isn't really about that. I just like
you want to be called Chicken Chaser. And like,
right.
Flex your arms for the entire town and have them fall in love with you.
Yeah, like show me like the dumb shit you can get into with just like random NPCs and the dumb shenanigans, and tell me more about that stuff instead of
I will say that this trailer does hint at that.
It does. It does. I'm still shocked that nobody has planted a tree and then fucking let it grow. And that's where I keep getting into is they are not. if they're just like, here's a hero and they're already grown, I'm like, you're missing kind of the entire point of the franchise. The entire point of the franchise was like, you start as a child and you grow up and get old and do all this stuff, and like it's the story of your life or whatever.
Well, I was gonna say because I
and
feel
they're kind of missing that.
I feel that none of the games have ever really been able to capitalize on Molyneux's initial vision. And say what you will of Peter Molyneux. Yeah, like there was a time when he was one of my favorite people in games.
Yeah, he had some interesting ideas.
He
for
did.
The most part,
and he always shot for the moon, and he never quite got there. But I still think the ideas are worth exploring.
They absolutely are.
And the thesis statement for Fable was always, after you're dead and gone, what does the story of your life look like? And they've never quite been able to capitalize on that, and I want them to.
And I feel like they're moving away from it entirely.
Me too. So there are interesting things to glean from this trailer. I think one of the things is that you're talking like one of the heroes, and I think he's probably like, you know, your mentor.
That's what it seems like.
Interviewed like kind of office style when he's old. And he's talking about this hero that you get the impression is supposed to be you, but he's talking about like how she was this and that, and then he's like, she was terrifying. And it's like, that was always the cool thing about Fable is like, you would be trained to be a hero, but like, are you going to be a hero for good or a hero for evil? Right. Now, and I do want to see if like, are we still going to have like a character that visually changes based on our actions, right?
Yeah,
like,
there's a lot of questions that I'm like, okay, if you tell me, like, again, if you show me like them starting as a kid and all this stuff, I'm like, okay, you're nailing it. I'm in. Like, I'm in either way. I'm gonna play the damn thing.
Yeah,
but like, I'm like, there are concerns of like the things that I really liked the franchise for and wanted them to like expand upon, because we have the technology to do a lot of stuff that they just couldn't pull off before.
Right. Because there were two mechanics in Fable 2 that were very interesting for and they are in the game, but because of like, you know, where we were at graphics wise and also just like television wise, it didn't really like come across. So one of the things was that if you died in Fable 2, your only penalty was that you would get scars. Right. But like, I never noticed the scars on my character.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was that if you used a lot of magic, you would prematurely age, right? And like, what that really ended up being was that like your hair turned white and like, you know, you got like a couple wrinkles, but it's like, now we can really explore that. And I hope that that's still a part of the game.
I would like that. I always think it'd be really cool if you made a Fable game that like just kind of kept going, like you did the age thing, but like in the Fable games you could like start a family and stuff like that. And like, what if you did start a family and then like, you know, your character aged up and died or whatever, but like it was whatever threat there was kept going, you know, like
it was a generational thing.
Yeah, and you just pass it on to the youth, and then that would be super cool.
Yeah, they did. So the framing of this trailer, and I don't think it's part of the gameplay, but I found it interesting. The fact that you're talking to this retired hero, and he's kind of gone out to pasture and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's what I did with my Fable 2 character after I beat the game. I specifically made him get fat. And he started wearing like the male prostitute outfit, and he was just like, I'm just going to whore around and like enjoy the fact that I saved the world. And then the DLC came out. And I was like, he's got to get back into shape. So I went to like every place that you could buy celery in the world and just kept on eating celery until he got back into fighting form, and he put his armor back on and he went back out and, you know, did the DLC. And I that was like part of that like kind of emergent gameplay that I really love from Fable, right? It's like, it was my story, like the way that I kind of wanted to tell it. So it's not mentioned here, but this is a good time to talk about it, because in this presentation they showed a trailer for the next Dragon Age, which has now been renamed to Veilguard.
Yes.
I think that artistically, Fable and Dragon Age need to flip. Because Fable's going for like a much more realistic like art style. Where the thing that I loved about Fable was like, yo, that dude's feet are massive. Right? Like it had like this very fun, stylized, very British, you know, vibe to it.
Right.
Where Dragon Age, to be fair, Dragon Age has had kind of like, it's never really been able to find an identity.
It's never been able to pin itself down to what it wants to be or look like fully.
Because Origins is like very boring standard fantasy. It's my favorite in the series. It
almost looks like World of Warcraft a little bit, like in certain weird ways.
No.
Yeah. No, it does.
Not Origins. Origins looks Origins looks like, I don't know, any fantasy game from like 2003.
Yeah, I mean, which a lot of that looked like they have like big. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Hold on, let me.
You might be thinking of Dragon Age 2, which I did think was like did a really good job of like, this is what Dragon Age elves look like. This is what Dragon Age dwarves look like. This is what our dwarven like architecture looks like. Like it definitely started to establish a style that it desperately needed, and then Inquisition kind of threw that out the window.
Yeah, it could be. I'm looking at some of the screenshots. It does have the bulkier armor that I'm remembering, but not. It's not as fantasy oriented as for some reason I'm thinking.
It's not as cartoony as World of Warcraft.
It's not as cartoony as I'm thinking.
Veilguard does look like that.
A little bit.
It looks like it's trying so hard to go for the Blizzard look, which is now basically the Fortnite look, and. So there was a trailer shown at the Xbox thing, and I was like, "That looks terrible."
Yeah,
and also tonally, it seems terrible.
It was a weird trailer, and I think a lot of people said it was that was a weird trailer.
Yeah, and then they showed gameplay a few days later, and we can talk about it here. I think the gameplay looks like I felt nothing during the gameplay reveal. Like it took me, so it's a 20-minute demo. It took me 15 minutes of that to realize that the guy that I thought was Dollar Store Varric is actually Varric.
It's just Varric, yeah. I recognized him in the trailer immediately. I was like, oh, that's Varric.
His hair color is different, like the shape of his face is different. The only like real like he has Bianca, and I was like, oh, they just like gave that same weapon to someone else. That's weird.
I was like, no, that's I knew it was Varric. Because I think it was because I played Inquisition not that long ago.
That's fair.
And so I immediately was like, that's Varric.
Yeah,
that's
it's
him.
been about
that's
10 years since I fucked with Dragon Age. So.
Yeah. So that makes sense that you're like, you remember the character, but you like, they may have evolved a little bit or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I also recognize the girl next to him because she was in Inquisition.
Oh, was she really? Okay.
Yes.
Now this demo like highlights an ongoing problem that Dragon Age has always had, in my opinion, which is the fact there's only 3 classes. You've got warrior, rogue, and mage, and it's still that. So I was like, really? You've got 2 dwarven rogues in this party?
Uh-huh.
All right. I mean, I guess that's fine. It looks like Final Fantasy 16 to me.
Could be.
And that's not a knock on it. I just, like, you do have the ability to pause the game and issue orders like old Mass Effect, and that has me curious, that has me interested. But it looks like you're going to have Mass Effect 2 amounts of abilities, which is to say, not many.
Yeah, the one thing I think it's getting praised for, and I kind of agree that I think the direction that they're taking with like level design is kind of at least a step in the right direction, where they're like, no, it's much more curated this time. It's not an open world thing, because that was Inquisition's problem. They're just like, here's another big, massive place to go explore. And you're like, okay, but there's not really that much in it.
BioWare has always had problems with level design, like in all of their games. Like as much as I love the Mass Effect series.
Yeah.
But I wish they would just get better at it. That's my thing, is I wish they would bring people in that could actually like bolster that, right?
Well, maybe it might be fine here. We don't know.
We'll see.
Maybe this is the one where, because they've said like
it's coming out this year, which is bonkers to me.
Yeah.
After all of that time of not showing literally anything, and it's like, oh yeah, it's coming out this fall, and I'm like, oh, you're sending this to die.
Possible. Who knows? I don't know.
Look, I'm gonna
I definitely want to play it. Yeah, I definitely want to play it.
I've got to know.
I mean, most of what I've heard, like stories that I've read of like people like trying it themselves, say it's really good.
Yeah,
and I'm intrigued by that.
Me too.
Yeah,
because I think one thing that's always worth repeating is that like, the BioWare that we like is long gone, right? Like most of those people are not there anymore. Yeah. And even as early as Dragon Age 2, which I did enjoy, but it was like somewhere along the line, you guys forgot how to make an RPG. And I blame EA for that, but like, I think they also lost the people who were excited about RPG mechanics. So,
for sure. Definitely.
So we will see how this bears out.
That every one of those articles that I read about people trying the demo always started out with like, that trailer was weird. That was a weird one. I didn't really care for that trailer, but hey, the game's actually pretty good. Like, I was like, all right, okay, I'll hear it out. Because I thought the same thing as you. I was watching that trailer. I was like, I don't know about this. Actually, this
it feels like the epitome. And so I've only recently started to really like rail against this, but like that trailer was the epitome of the MCU dialogue style, and I was like,
absolutely was,
no, So we'll see.
We'll see how that one goes. I guess we're on to Gears of War now.
Yeah, man, dude. I was so excited when I heard that they were like that there's going to be a new Gears game announced, because I was like, yes, it has been like Gears 5 was 2019. I think I didn't play it until like 2021 or 22. And the thing you have to know about Gears 5 is that it ends on a cliffhanger.
Okay.
And a major character dies that you can choose who it is.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, and there's also other stuff going on, in the story of like 4 and 5 that I really want to see a resolution to. I also happen to really like the new characters that were introduced in 4. I like them a lot more than the original Gears cast, because I think they're a lot more human. But there's also really interesting stuff that they have done with the surviving Gears cast from the original games, right? Like the fact that like they won the war and then were literally just like tossed aside like garbage, right? Like that's really interesting. And you see how salty Marcus is, and he's trying to keep his son out of the military and blah, 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 right? Like that stuff is all really cool. So imagine my dismay when I'm watching like the Gears trailer and I'm like, wait a second. Is that Marcus?
Yeah.
Why does he look so young?
I kept thinking the same thing. I was like, wait, what happened to Marcus in like between 4 and between 5 and now? Like what?
And then it's like,
that's weird.
Oh shit, there's Dom. Oh, it's a prequel, isn't it? And then it's like Gears of War E-Day, and I'm like, all right, look, like so people are very excited about this because apparently, like, they're
I could bet,
and I get like the idea of getting to see the planet of Sarah before it's completely decimated is interesting, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, my big problem with prequels in video games is that mechanically the game has to evolve, which means that you have to add new abilities or new weapons and stuff like that, but it takes place before the stuff you've already done.
Yeah.
So that's a big problem. And because the thing that I was really hoping for a new Gears was, with the new technology, I was hoping that you could do a thing where instead of like coming into an area with very obvious waist-high cover, where you're like, oh, if we don't get into an encounter right now, we're going to get into an encounter when we come back, right? Like it telegraphs it so hard.
Yeah.
What if the game was a lot more free-flowing, where like you're creating your own cover by like destroying bits of the environment, or maybe you have like a deployable shield that you can hide behind and you're more mobile in the battlefield, and that leads to more flanking tactics or just like more improvising on the fly. That stuff could be really cool. But like, if you're going back, it's like, well, why wouldn't you have had that stuff, later, right? So that's my thing. And then, of course, you're going to get like your really ham-fisted, like, here's the beginning of the chainsaw bayonet, right? Like, and it's like, I think it'd be really fun if all it was like, I'm forgetting their name. I forgot the names of the enemies.
Locusts?
The locusts, right? Like their skin is like too thick for our bayonets, so we've decided to upgrade the lancers with a chainsaw, and that's all it is, right? It doesn't have to be this thing where like someone decides to just like strap a chainsaw to their gun or blah blah, or like there has to be this deep lore to it. It's just like, no, what if it was just like a new standard issue thing that they decided to do to like to like rise to the occasion of what was happening.
Yeah.
But that's what it's going to be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's going to be plenty of stuff like that. My problem with prequels is how it's going to end. So, like, there's only really one way it can end.
Yeah,
it's the next game.
I don't have as much a problem with that simply because there's still stories that you can tell there, right? And like I think here it's interesting again, getting to see the planet get more and more fucked up, and also like maybe seeing like how Marcus goes from being like a new soldier to being imprisoned at the beginning of Gears of War 1. You know, there's stuff there, but at the same time, right? Like, I don't know. That's
always been my thing with prequels. Is like, but I know what happens after this. Like, it kind of defeats the but it's cool for the lore, and I'm like, but I know what happens.
You're right. I get that.
Yeah, that's always been my that's a me thing. But yeah.
Do you have anything to say about Indiana Jones?
Sure looks like an Indiana Jones, and I think the gameplay in it looks awful. They really spent a long time showing you their Indiana Jones model. Like they did not want to show you the game. They showed you that movie. They're like, look, it's a movie. It's like a movie. You're watching the movie, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. What's the actual game? And then they show the game, and I'm like, that sure looks like shitty Bethesda combat. I'll tell you that,
dude. And I don't want like. I mean this to sound the way it does, but keep in mind that I do like VR. It looks like a VR game.
Yeah,
it
kind of does.
It feels like kind of jittery and like not quite cohesive in a weird way.
Like things don't connect the way you think they should, and it's look not great. I'm just gonna say it. It just didn't look great.
This did though, and I was so shocked.
What, Flight Simulator?
No. I'm skipping that.
Okay, all right. Damn it. I was like, I mean, it did look cool. I mean, I don't care about it, but if you do, we'll talk about Flight Simulator. I don't give a shit.
If you had asked me to bet on when we were going to see gameplay of Perfect Dark, I would not have said 2024.
Yo, this game looks pretty alright.
This game looks awesome, dude.
This game looks pretty alright, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Let me be fair. There is a possibility that this is like a very like pre-baked vertical slice that is almost like a bullshot type thing. But there was enough that they showed that felt real to me.
Yeah.
And it looks cool as shit.
It looks kind of it reminded me a lot of like
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was like, that's a good way to go with this.
Yes.
They're I'm interested.
Me too.
I definitely am. I was like, I did not expect to be like, I expected to see that game. I'm like, all right, yeah, I guess. But then it starts playing. I'm like, immediately I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is Perfect Dark. Like, and like as they keep going, and like the reveal of that once they say Agent Dark or whatever, I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, I knew that, because I'm sitting there looking at the game. I'm like, this is only like one thing that this could be, and yeah, like it looks cool, man. Yeah, I'm into it.
It's funny because they show the character first before they had the logos for the studios, and I was like, I guess this could be Perfect Dark, but she really doesn't have like a codified look, because when they did Perfect Dark Zero, she looked completely different than the N64 version. And those are the only two games. And here she looks completely different from either of those two games. But then they had the logos of the companies, and I knew that Crystal Dynamics was helping with it. I was like, oh, this has got to be it. And then once they started showing like the HUD, I was like, oh, this is definitely it. And I think one of the things that I loved the most was there's a part where she's like on an upper floor of like an apartment, and she shoots this guy and he like falls like he braces up against the balcony, and it breaks like with his weight, and like he falls, and I was like, and then she jumps off of it and like lands on another guy and like hits him, and I was like, this looks
parts
awesome.
Of it remind me of what's the old EA game that
Mirror's Edge?
The Mirror's Edge.
Yeah. It's got
reminded me a lot of that, and I was like, that's cool.
Yes.
Like this is you're doing something here. I get it.
One of the few games in the Xbox showcase that did not have a year attached to it, but
nor would I expect
it was nice to see proof of life, and
yes,
it seemed like they're going in the right direction. So
yeah, I'm into that. Yeah.
And now it is my honor to introduce Peter D. Richards, a venture capitalist, here with an exciting new announcement. Take it away, Peter. Hello, people who pay money for video games. It is my great pleasure to talk about our next product for you to consume. It is a 5v5 battle royal hero shooter with a strong loot mechanic to keep you engaged. It is the first video game designed completely by the AI algorithm to maximize player retention and investment. We think you will love the soulless husks of characters that the AI has generated for you, with new characters added every 6 hours. Battle Pass. Multiple currencies. Skins. Buzzword. And now, here is the first trailer for Shoot Faces with Guns.
The Stage Select is made possible through the support and funding of viewers like you. Here are our wonderful patrons.
Justin, before we continue on with the Xbox stuff, I think now is a good time to thank our lovely patrons.
Yeah, sure. We can do that.
Yeah. We appreciate all of our lovely patrons, but every week we like to thank the executive producer tier. And this week we have Bookie.
We have Casey Curran.
We have David Portnoff.
We have Dennis Robertson.
Yeah, that happened last week while you were out. Yeah,
I see that.
Yeah. We have Exrian.
We have Matt Jorgensen.
We have Philip Becker.
We have Stephen Lobo.
And we have Xavier Krager. And by the time this episode comes out publicly, the first episode of the Suffer Select should be available to all paid patrons. And also the poll for the next Suffer Select will be available for all paid patrons to vote on. For the next Suffer Select, the choice is between My Pet Vet and what was the other one?
Uriel's
Chasm.
Chasm, that's it.
Yes. I gotta say, both of those games actually look kind of interesting to me, and I'm not even, like, bullshitting. Like, I'm kind of interested in playing either of them, but they could. The thing is that, like, they could be just god awful. We will see. But again, the poll is up for all paid patrons to vote on. The first episode of Suffer Select is also available to all paid patrons, but going forward from Suffer Select episode 2 and beyond, those episodes will be available to the associate producer and executive producer tiers moving forward. Mm-hmm. So if you like what we do and want to hear more of it, consider going over to Patreon and checking us out. We'd appreciate it. Yeah. Even if you just want to join at the free tier, like, kind of just to see what's going on over there. It definitely helps.
Or get up on the Discord, whatever.
Yes. Few new people at the Discord. Really, really cool.
Yeah, that is nice. Yes. It's good to see new people on there.
Yeah. And also a new person, like someone who was not, like he said, like, I didn't listen to Nerves Without Pants, and I was like, we got one.
Hey, that's nice.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, Justin.
All right.
Next game is in strong contention for my favorite thing that I saw.
Really?
Yes.
I actually don't know how I feel about it. I think it's neat, but I am kind of very torn on it.
I can see that. This is South of Midnight, which we got the teaser for last year, and I really liked the vibe of it, but I wanted to see gameplay.
Okay, vibe, great.
Vibes
like
are
all that stuff is awesome.
Yes.
Like like my I think my biggest concern with it, and I know why they're doing it. I think the art style and presentation of, like, when they're doing a cutscene is really, really cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, it takes a certain frame rate when it's doing that.
Yeah,
and then when it jumps to gameplay,
the Into the Spider-Verse
Yes,
frame rate.
but when it jumps to gameplay, it doesn't do that because that would be really weird to play as.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like it's a really jarring transition. And I also think like the art style that it has in those things doesn't quite come through in gameplay as well to me. Like you can kind of tell it's there, but it almost looks like too good to be that style. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but like in the cutscenes, it's like perfect. It's awesome looking, but when it doesn't have that, like, I don't know what's going on with it. It's really weird.
Yeah. I don't know. It really worked on every level for me. It feels like a Louisiana Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and like I love, so the character, she's like riding on the back of this giant catfish who just talks like a Louisianan, like
yeah.
Like he there's no like weird like reverb to his voice or anything like that. He just sounds like a dude, but it's like really cool.
Right.
And then it does go into gameplay where she does some combat, and this was one of the games where I was like, this feels like what I've been missing as far as that middle tier of game where it sits alongside like a lot of the like third person action games that I loved on the PS2 and like early 360, right? And it doesn't feel like it's like super like epic or like this massively scoped game. It feels like they're being very like smart with the design and stuff like that. The traversal stuff looked really cool. Almost too good, like kind of because so she's supposed to get to the top of this church to ring this bell to distract this ginormous crocodile.
Yeah,
and in other games that would be like this whole ordeal. Where here she's just kind of like floats all the way to the top. Like I was like, man, I wonder if that's like a late game ability because that just seems like way too smooth to just have that all the time.
Yeah, hard to say.
But and one thing I gotta say, fucking phenomenal soundtrack.
Oh yeah, that does sound really cool.
Yes,
I have to agree.
Yes, I was
in. I'm dead in the middle on it. I definitely want to play it. It definitely seems cool. So, but yeah, there's certain parts where I'm like, there's something off-putting about how this changes between the cutscenes and like it doesn't quite flow like I feel like it should to me. But it's tough to pull off what they're trying to pull off. So I get it because you couldn't do that frame rate with gameplay. It'd be really weird.
Yeah, I agree.
Do that with a gameplay,
I mean,
so I get it.
At the same time though, like when you play Spider-Man, like, and you get the Into the Spider-Verse outfit, you can actually have the character play as that frame rate and it's fine.
Oh, really?
So okay. I think they could do it. So we'll see when the game comes out if maybe there's an option for that. They may not have wanted to do that for a demo. I will say that I watched this with Nextlander, and this and another game were both going for this frame rate style, and the people in Nextlander's chat were losing their goddamn minds because they were like, it's so framey, blah, 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 and they're like, yeah, it's an artistic choice, guys. Like,
that's what they're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Normally I would skip this, but I found out something later on that I found very interesting.
Okay.
So they showed a trailer for State of Decay 3, which we have not seen hide nor hair of this game since the debut of the Xbox Series consoles.
Right.
And I thought that this was just one of those like bullshit CG trailers, and I was like, you shouldn't just be able to show this after that many years. But apparently it was all in engine.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
This is what the game looks like. It's in Unreal 5.
Pretty good.
So like I was like, oh, that actually like super recontextualizes everything for me.
Right. Yeah. That looks good.
Yeah. I don't have much to say other than that. But
yeah, I mean they didn't show much. It was just kind of a tone trailer.
Yes.
So,
so now they're talking about the partner stuff. We'll save Assassin's Creed for later.
Yeah.
Atom Fall, I liked the vibe of, but I couldn't really tell what it's supposed to be.
I'll be honest with you, I don't even remember it.
Yeah, I got kind of like Stalker vibes from it, but maybe with like a tongue-in-cheek humor to it.
Yeah, I don't really care about that. Yeah.
Oh.
Here we go. Yeah.
All right.
The one.
So we're going to talk now. So I guess the full title is Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Okay.
And I guess Clair Obscur is like some franchise. They should just call it Expedition 33. That name owns.
Yeah. Yeah, that game looks awesome, dude.
Dude.
Yeah, I was into that shit.
I was into this from second one.
I wasn't into it. I was like, this seems cool, but I where I felt like it was going, because it was like this. I was like, man, this is really my vibe of shit. Like, this seems pretty neat. Like, I'm into this, but I was like, but I bet it's a Souls-like, and I'm probably not going to get into that.
And when they start showing the person just walking around, I was like, oh, this is like there's going to be an enemy that comes down that's like really grotesque, and they're going to be parrying and dodging and blah blah blah. Yeah, it's not that. I want to save what it is for a second, because I want to build this up. So like, yeah. The thesis behind the game is that on an island that's really far away, but on a tree large enough that you can see from how far away it is, there is a woman who paints a number on the tree every year. Mm-hmm. And it's been counting down for who knows how long, but every time that she paints a new number, everybody in the world who is that age just vanishes from existence. Uh-huh. And every year, I guess the people who are the next in line to vanish go on an expedition to try and kill this person, so that this won't happen anymore. And obviously, if we're at 33, like, we're running out of time, because at a certain point, you're going to get to a point where, like, you can't send like a 10-year-old to try to go do this, right? Yeah, so once you get like past like, or like under like 16, you're probably fucked. Yeah. And the main character is Ben Starr from Final Fantasy 16, so that's awesome.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so the art style is very cool. It's a French developer, and like the environments looked really cool. But again, yeah, I'm watching this and I'm like, yeah, any second now there's going to be some enemy with like some sort of like poise meter, and I know what this is.
I'm just waiting for it.
I'm just Imagine my surprise when it's Western Persona, Justin.
Yeah, me too. I was like,
Western Persona with like Shadow Hearts style or Mario Party or Paper Mario style, like timing based things within the combat to do, like parries and like perfect dodges and stuff like that. Right. It looks fucking phenomenal.
It looks cool.
I am so excited for this.
I was like, as it went on, I was like, oh, okay. No, I'm into this. Yes. This fucking rules. Yes. Yeah, this game is, I'm very much looking forward to this shit.
Me too.
I was like super impressed by like how it looked like it was transitioning into the battles, because like stuff was just falling and then they were just in fight mode, and I was like, this is great. Yes. Turn based. I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, let's go.
Yes, I want this game to do really, really well.
Me too.
Let's see. Oh, here they have Dragon Age, but we already talked about that.
We talked about Dragon Age. Oh, yep.
This one. So this has been shown before, and I've always liked what I've seen of it. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn.
Oh, yeah. This looks pretty neat.
Yes, they call it a Souls Light, which I really appreciate, because it does. Yeah. It definitely has like some, what I like to call death action RPG elements to it, but it feels more character actiony. It's much more fast paced. I will say that in the trailer, like right before they say the name of the game, there's a tagline that says "Kill all gods," and that's a much better title than Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This is coming in mid-July to
I did
Game
notice
Pass.
that. Yeah.
It's also a $40 game if you just want to buy it outright.
That's all right.
And I think that's very cool. Like, I think...
Yeah, I agree.
I think this game looks cool enough, and I think that at that price point, either, a monthly fee if you're on Xbox or $40 if you're on another format.
Right.
I think this game finds an audience, and it looks like it deserves to find an audience, and I'm very much looking forward to this one. Yeah. Can't wait to play it.
I agree. Yeah, looks cool.
Yes. Next big one for me, I feel like we have this discussion every time it happens, where I say, I'm really excited for a new Life is Strange game, and I don't know why you haven't played a Life is Strange game, Justin, because it's right up your alley.
Yeah, no, I know they are. I just don't. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just don't.
You can't reach your inner teenage girl.
No, I definitely can. I just don't feel like it ever. Maybe that's what I'll do one of these days on stream or something.
Yeah, I really want you to check one out. And this is very interesting because it is a new game starring Max Caulfield, who was the main character of the first Life is Strange, and she seems to have a different power now, which is also very interesting. She's not rewinding time anymore. She's actually like switching realities.
Yeah.
And it's by Deck 9, and they have done my favorite of these games. So they did Life is Strange Before the Storm, which is the prequel, and they did Life is Strange True Colors, which is my favorite in the series. So I'm very excited for that. I think that the way they handle the characters and the stories are very good.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. Oh.
More Mecha Break.
Yeah.
Oh, what up?
What do you think of Metal Gear Delta? Metal Gear Solid Delta?
Looks good.
It does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was impressed.
Yeah.
I was not expecting it to look that solid, no pun intended, or that faithful to the source material.
Yeah, they're going for it. That's good. That's what if you're going to remake that game, this is kind of what I wanted to see. So yeah, yes. Absolutely.
They did confirm that they're using the original voice lines from the PS2 game.
Oh, that's fine.
So
yeah.
No, I know that's what I wanted. Like,
yeah, me too.
As much as I would love to see David Hayter reprise his role, his voice has changed dramatically since 2003. So I am happy that they're going with the original dialogue for this. Now people have made a lot of they've made a lot of complaint about well, it doesn't have the look of the PS2 version with the haze and stuff like that. And it's I can definitely see a scenario where that was a stylistic choice to mask PlayStation 2 issues and not necessarily how they wanted the game to look. A lot of
those old choices were to mask things that were bad about if you would turn that stuff off.
Yes. So I can totally see that if Kojima could have made it look like this is what he would have wanted to do. Now we need to see how cutscenes look and stuff like that, because unless they are 100% copying the original direction, Kojima has a way of directing his action scenes, right? And few in the industry can compete with that. So I'm curious about that. One thing that they did say is that they've kind of they've really deepened the injury mechanics of the game. So that's kind of cool.
Okay. That is pretty neat.
And I want to see if they do some improvements to the overall camouflage interface and all of that stuff, because the game was a little too fiddly with going into the menus to do a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they have a good workaround for that. But I am very open to this.
Sounds awesome. Yeah.
I'm very curious about your thoughts on this next one.
It's by the Artful Escape people. I did not realize that.
I just found that out today. Yeah.
Yeah, I just found that out right now.
Yeah. This is Mixtape.
I thought this game looked neat.
I love this game. I love what I've seen of this game. This is so my jam.
Yeah, it looked really cool. I remember being I definitely will fuck with this.
Yes.
This looks all right. I remember them going through the music on it, and I was like, all right, yeah, this seems all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the other game going for that Spider-Verse frame rate, right? It's going for that 24
it's called
frame.
Mixtape, by the way. We didn't mention that while we're talking about.
Teenage coming of age story. It looks like it's set in the 80s. But it also seems like there's either some metaphysical stuff going on, or it might just be their imagination. But it's definitely got a vibe to it, and it feels like a game that's going to make me cry. That was of the sense that I got from it.
It's entirely possible, yeah.
I also love the fact that at the very end of the trailer, there's a parent who says there's been some noise complaints, and then one of the characters is so
okay. Was it so, or was it okay?
It might have been okay.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
It was a very teen reaction.
I remember hearing. I was perfect, nailed it.
Yes,
got it.
Yes,
yeah.
I really am looking forward to this one.
It looks cool. Yeah, that one does look cool.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Any thoughts on Stalker 2? I've never played any of these games, so I actually kind of.
I mean, there's only one other one, right?
Well, but isn't Metro in the same vein?
I got no fucking idea, man. I don't follow these games, so these are for a very specific person, and they aren't me.
Yes.
So it's cool that they're making them. Maybe this one will be really cool too. I don't know, but I don't care about it.
I'm kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
I did like the look of Winterboro, and again, I think it was a very, very good indicator of just how
Yes.
Like how diverse like the games were this year, and like kind of the breadth and depth of them.
I really like the storybook look of it.
Me too.
I remember looking at it being like, I don't know if I would play this personally, but maybe I would because I really like the look, and maybe
and it's on Game Pass. So
it's on Game Pass, yeah. So why not if it's there?
Exactly.
Next up, the Wu-Chang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
I don't remember this one at all.
That's because it's one of the most boring looking things you'll ever see.
Hold on, I'm bringing up the trailer because like I do not remember seeing
if I
this.
remember right, this is the one where there's a girl fighting a thing. It's like a Souls-like game, at least I think so.
Oh yeah, I didn't know what to make of this one.
And she was like, I'm a monster too, and I hunt monsters, and you're like, okay, all right.
Yeah, and it's just a tone piece. Like you can't get a sense of like what the game's going to be like. I guess there's a little bit of gameplay.
I think there is. Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah,
it looked like a video game you can play.
I don't want to be a broken record, but again, my thing is that like, okay, sure, like. The death action RPG gameplay is like a really cool thing to play around with. I just wish that everybody who does it would not take we're going to make the grossest looking shit ever aesthetic and do some, that's why I wanted to love Another Crab's Treasure so much, is because they are doing something unique with that format, but it just didn't play well enough for me. But,
or if you just have like, I think my exact, criticism of this when I started seeing it and like was getting the vibe of it, I was like, this is maybe not the best time to release your Eastern based Souls-like game. Like we have a lot of those right now.
We do have a lot of those right now.
I don't know if we need another one.
And there's more coming because like
I know.
I think I skipped over it, but like or maybe we haven't gotten there, but like what is it? Black Myth Wukong had like their like release date trailer, and
I think we might have skipped over it.
Yeah. I just think that game looks boring. I also
sure does.
I hate primates, and so I don't want to play as a humanoid primate. I just don't. I know it's supposed to be Son Goku. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. Let's see. There's Diablo 4 stuff. The only thing I feel like I remember that character. So that was at least interesting.
I will say that it was one of the first like video game trailers to make me visibly wince from like what was going on. It is a hard to watch. There's like a content warning before the trailer, and like
I believe so.
If anything, it was not. It did not warn you enough.
Right.
Like I've never seen someone flayed before.
Yeah, it was interesting. Okay,
there's a lot of like Bethesda stuff. I don't know,
Elder Scrolls Online, and we had Fallout 76, Sea of Thieves, Starfield stuff.
That Starfield thing looked good. I'm probably not going back to it.
Me neither. I said the same thing. I was like, unless something really cool comes out for that game, like mod wise or something, then maybe. But I will say that is like the part of like the universe that I wanted to know more about, was the whole thing with the Great Serpent and all that shit.
House
like
Varun.
House Varun.
Yeah.
Like they seemed really fucking weird and cool. And I was like, I want to know more about these guys. But like, they were like, well, you can't go there. I was like, okay, that sounds like DLC, but
and that is what it is.
And sure it was.
I guess
World of Warcraft.
The last big thing is that they announced like 3 new hardware SKUs. And I really want to know what's going on over there, man.
These just look like colors to me.
Well, what? So there's a Series X that's digital only. To which I say, why? Unless the price is $100 less, which I don't know that it is. And then I think there's like a 2 terabyte Series S. I actually don't know.
Yeah, that's what it looks.
Yeah,
and
then there's a green and black disc based Series X that's 2 terabytes, and it's $600.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't it be?
Oh man! And so one of the things, so I don't know if it got across. I think that Microsoft had the best showing that they've had in years, and I think this was exactly what they needed after like all of the shit that's gone down with them. I think the games they showed looked incredible. I think other than the audacity of having the corporate people come out even for a split second.
Yeah, that was dumb. I don't think they should have done that.
But the rest of the show was excellent. And the games that they showed, I was like, okay, no, see, this is the thing, right? Is that if you have the games, like, that's how you sell systems, or you sell, in this case, also Game Pass subscriptions, right?
Right.
Because that's their new business model.
I mean, they emphasized that Game Pass thing, like, after every single one of those trailers where it applied to it.
Yes.
And I was like, cool, yeah.
And especially when you have Sony kind of resting on their laurels. Well, it's either that they're resting on their laurels, or because of, like, the pandemic, like, slowing things down, like, they just found themselves without anything to show.
And that's possible.
That's entirely possible. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, Microsoft has been building up this, like, library of studios and exclusive games.
For sure.
And now the dam is about to break, and these games are about to flood into the market.
Right.
And it's like, so I could see a situation where it's like, yeah, you're going to start selling some hardware, and maybe you start to gain some ground. But then they do shit like this with, like, the because it's like, it's so confusing already with the X and the S. Just keep things the way they are. Like, don't make it any more difficult for people to know what to buy from you, you know. And maybe do a price cut, because, like, a lot of times you can find the Series X on sale for, like, $50 to $100 off. So maybe just do an actual price cut, because consoles have not had price cuts in, like, almost a decade now, because the PS4 and Xbox Ones didn't really drop in price. The step-up versions of them came out, and then the older versions of them just kind of slowly faded, you know, out to pasture, but they didn't drop the prices at the time.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're just hoping that, you know, like, if they get the games for it, that people will just be like, okay, now it's time to buy my Xbox or whatever. But
yeah, I think that's what it is. But again, like,
so
I think introducing 3 new SKUs on top of your other 2 SKUs.
It's probably it's a little bit. Well, I guess they were hoping that their presentation was so strong that they'd be like, oh, what? And there's more options for me to buy. Cool. That all right.
Yeah.
You know, I guess that's what they're hoping for. I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
and we'll see. Like, again, I think they had just banger after banger at that show.
But also, like, a lot of these will be on PC too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you know, but you know, but there are a lot of people like me who it's like,
I know,
can't play it on PC, right? Like,
I know.
And I will say one thing that was very noticeably absent is I expected Sony to announce their PS5 Pro. And I was expecting Microsoft to have a portable, because I thought that Microsoft was going to try to go into, like, the Steam Deck place.
Yeah.
And people were like, well, that would be stupid because the Steam Deck exists. But if they came out with a portable Xbox that had a deal with Steam to work, you know, like a Steam Deck, like that had, like, the Steam, like, operating, or the Steam, well, I don't know what to call it, like the storefront or whatever, like, front and center, that's what I would buy over a Steam Deck. Like, I would be very into that possibility, because you have Game Pass and you have, like, Steam, like, on the same portable. That's a pretty cool setup for me. But I guess with a Steam Deck you can still do that, just in reverse. So I guess I would just end up buying I don't know, but to me it seems like a good idea, but, you know, didn't happen.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah. All right, well, we're getting to the end of the Summer Game Awards Fest 3 for this year. We've had a lot of great games. Lot of stuff to be excited about. But next up, coming to the stage, we have Jacob Washington from Sweet Tea Games, and he's going to tell us all about their new title, 22 Rifle. Come on out.
Well, hi there. My name is Jacob Washington. I'm here representing my studio, Sweet Tea Games, and I'm here to talk about my new title, 22 Rifle. You know, me and my team, we was sitting around the garage. We had the old lawnmower up on the lift. Craig, he's our other developer. He got out there too close to the dang on rocks, and he ran over one of them rocks and bent the dang on blade up. But we was out there, you know, fixing that blade, and we was, just shooting that old 22 at, some canes we had laying around, and we was thinking about it. I said, Craig, any of them there video games where you can just stand out there and shoot that 22 rifle? And he said, I don't reckon so. And I said, well, maybe we should look into that, and so we have created a game. We're still working on it, obviously, being in and out. where you just, you know, you go outside. It's an open world game, a lot of exploration. You know that the open world is your property. You know, and you got to defend your property with that there 22 rifle. And so you go around, and there's a lot of puzzle solving. You have to know what you can and can't shoot with a 22 rifle. So if you see a squirrel, you can shoot that with a 22 rifle. All right. Now, if you see, a duck, you can shoot that with a 22 rifle. It might be a little cruel to shoot that there duck, but you can shoot that with a 22 rifle. Now, if you see a bear, you can shoot that with a 22 rifle technically, all right? But you're going to have a little bad time if you miss, you know? Because that there bear, you know, you shoot him in the wrong place, he's going to be like, hey, that hurt, all right? Just a little bit. You have inconvenienced me. I'm made mildly uncomfortable by this, and, you know, he might just come after you, you know, so you got to think about that. You know, and that's our game, you know, we out there, we're from Colburn, Virginia, you know, we just out there, you know, doing our thing, you know.
Wow, yeah, that's really interesting. Now, you did mention protecting your property with the 22 rifle.
Right.
So I guess and you mentioned animals. Are you shooting people in 22 rifle?
Well, you know, we haven't put any people in there yet. But you know, you never know who's going to show up on your property. You know, if Glenn from down the block shows up there, he's probably all right. You probably don't want to shoot old Glenn with that there 22 rifle. But you know, if somebody else shows up that you don't know, you might have to shoot them with that there 22 rifle. You know, you can shoot them. You don't want to shoot them like in the chest per se. Because, you know, then it's like attempted murder or whatever. But you can shoot them in like the leg, and they will not come back on your property after that. I'll tell you that right now. Let me tell you something. You get into, you may be out there thinking, look, Jacob, I don't need this here game. I have my own 22 rifle. I will go outside and shoot that there 22 rifle wherever the hell I want to. Now, let me tell you something. If you shoot that 22 rifle enough times and you hit the wrong thing with it, I'm going to tell you, you're going to be on house arrest. You can't be shooting that 22 rifle then. You're going to need that game so you can sit around and shoot the 22 rifle, you know? It's a good game, you know?
Yeah, that sounds very interesting.
Well, thank you.
So why sweet tea games?
Well, you know, my papa always said, when life gives you lemonade, or lemons, I'm sorry, you can make some lemonade with them lemons there. But I don't like to make lemonade. I think it's a little too sugary for me. So I like to put me them lemons in that sweet tea, you know, and just have that. Okay, so, you know, why not?
I like a sweet tea. I've been to the South once.
Yeah, right. Well, you come on down old Colburn, Virginia. We'll show you around. You know, we'll take you up to Norton, do that there Walmart. We'll take you down to the Lowe's. You know, we'll show you that High Knob. You ever been up there on High Knob?
No, not the one time that I went to the South.
Oh, right. Well, you know, next time,
yeah.
You know, there's a heck of a view up there. They got that there guard tower. You can climb up there. It's a hell of a view. I tell you what.
Yeah. How I tell you what, I will come down and I will see your game. Just promise me that you won't shoot me with that 22 rifle. How about it?
You know, you better knock a couple times first, you know. Don't you know, you gotta be careful where you step up there. You maybe give us a phone call first, you know. It's not really us you gotta worry about. You gotta worry about old Mamo Sue. Mamo Sue's over there with that 357. Now, that 357 will put a hole in you, boy. I'll tell you what.
Oh, you probably want to save that 357 for a sequel.
Well, let me tell you something there, Keith. You don't want to shoot that there 357 every day. That's not their everyday gun, all right? That's for shooting, you know, at intruders and whatnot. You don't want to just go out there and shoot a squirrel with that there 357. That's got a heck of a kick to it. Now, Mamo Sue, she knows how that 357 is going to kick. Now, and you want to she's prepared for it. She knows. You wouldn't think she'd know by looking at her, but I tell you what, she knows, all right?
All right. Well,
all right.
Thanks for coming on and telling us about 22 Rifle. That's Jacob Washington, ladies and gentlemen, from Sweet Tea Games. Let's give him a round of applause.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, and now let's check out this next world premiere. moving on to probably our next to last bit, because we do want to. I have one last thing. Like after we finish here, we had Ubisoft Forward. Not a lot really to talk about here, but we might be able to talk in depth about the things that are worth talking about.
Maybe, I don't know.
Dude, the internet sucks so hard now, Justin.
Why? What happened?
It all looks like so shitty with like the way the ads show up.
Oh yeah. I agree.
Oh man. Yeah. So I think obviously the big thing was they showed quite a bit more gameplay of Star Wars Outlaws.
Yes,
and I'm sold.
I am too. I was already really interested in that game, but the more they showed of it, the more I was like, okay, yeah, that looks pretty good.
I have fallen way off on Star Wars, but this does give me there was a time when like I was all about the Jedi, and I think it's because like as a kid, like there wasn't a lot of Jedi, right? Like it was really just Luke, right? And like just the idea of like a space samurai with a laser sword is just a very cool thing. It's really cool. Yeah. And then the prequels exhausted me on the Jedi. There was just like too much of it. Yeah. But even as a kid, as much as I loved the Jedi and I loved Luke, I always wanted to be Han Solo. Like and because of Han Solo, I have always been drawn to the lovable rogue. In any media, right? Like I agree. Like you have a charismatic thief, I'm in.
I agree.
And that's probably going to be my favorite character no matter what. Yep. And I agree. And you get to be the charismatic rogue. You get to be the scoundrel in this game. And I love the fact that they were very like they went out of their way to be like, yo, you know how like Starfield would have like loading times when you would get on your ship? Yeah. Well, look at this. We don't. Right. I have a couple concerns on it, but like they're pretty minor. Like there's one part where they show some like shooting like happening, and like I remember like nobody like doing anything when they get shot, and that was like kind of weird. Right. I remember Alex Navarro pointed out, but I was like looking at him like, why didn't they like wince or anything? Like nothing happened. Like and then they ran away, and I was like, is that like a level thing? They don't really explain it. I don't know. Yeah. But I don't know. That's probably pretty minor. I'm guessing once you're in the game, it's a little bit better than that. Yeah, and we could see it could be a polishing thing, like that could be like a thing, right? So we'll see. I gotta say, her little critter, fucking adorable.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
They've done some pretty good Star Wars critters like since The Force Awakens came out, but I think this one might even supplant the Porg for me. I really like a Porg, but man, her little critter guy is really cool. Yeah, so I am very curious to see, like, I will wait for reviews, but I'm pretty much, like it's almost a certainty that I'm getting this.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm not even really a big Star Wars guy, and I'm like, no, I'm into this. If I was going to, like, pitch a Star Wars game, it'd be something akin to that. Yes, so, yeah, I'm in. It looks great.
Yeah. I think I need to see like, okay, so how many planets are there? Like, how much bloat is there? So I heard one thing that Alex said like on Nextlander, which is that it is not a 100-hour game. And that had got me very excited.
That's cool. That's cool.
Me and friend of the show, John Gholson, had like a lot of really good conversations when we were in Dallas. And I'll talk about that next episode because that's really the big thing that I'll have to talk about. But he was talking because I told him that like I wanted to pick up that Avatar game, but it's never been cheap enough for like what I want to pay for it yet. Yeah. And he was like, dude, it is a gorgeous game that is so boring. Yeah. And he was also talking about Far Cry 6, how he bounced off of that. And I was talking about how like we started talking about just how bloated games are. And I was like, yeah, there's like both of those games are probably excellent with like 40% less content.
Yeah. Probably.
And so that'll be the thing on Star Wars Outlaws is like, how bloated does it feel? But if they're saying that it's like not a 100-hour game, like if it's like around a 40-ish hour game, then that might be the sweet spot. So
I think I'm hoping I can just buy clothes. Can I buy Star Wars clothes? That's what I'm hoping to do.
You definitely can because like the pre-order, like the big deluxe things is like one, you can get like Han Solo's outfit, you can get Lando's outfit. They do show Lando in one of the trailers, which I thought was interesting. Okay. I hope that you can change hair because her hair is rough.
I don't know. I like it.
Do you?
It's weird 80s hair. I'm into it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
She looks like Joan of Arc in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure to me.
Yeah, she kind of does.
Yeah. That, and I'm like, I'm fine with that. That's cool. Yeah.
Next thing I just have to say, because what the fuck? That Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake that they announced like 4 years ago is coming in 2026.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the candle was going backwards, Julian. That's the I mean, I don't know, you take from that what you need to,
Oh, Prince of Persia Sands of Time. Candle blew out long before.
I mean, they also they were adding like a DLC to that one game, the
roguelite one.
Not the roguelite one, the other one.
Yes, the Lost Crown, which
the
I
one
do
people
want to
really like.
Yes, yeah. I want to go back and play that. I just, it might end up getting lost in the shuffle for me this year, but
it's possible.
We'll see. And they also were talking about more about that roguelite one.
The roguelite one, yeah.
I hadn't actually seen that until this presentation. I don't like the art style at all.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, I was not a bit. It seems like a really neat game, but the way it looks is kind of weird. It's definitely not my thing, but it's for somebody.
Yeah, it was funny because they announced all this stuff as part of I guess it's the 40th anniversary of Prince of Persia that's coming up or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And she was like, "We have a very exciting announcement," and I was like, please let it be either a remaster or a sequel to Prince of Persia 2008. And then it was the Sands of Time remake release date. Yeah. And it's like, that's not a real year.
No, it is, apparently,
They showed a lot of Assassin's Creed Shadows. And I'm also sold.
Yeah, what's funny is I kind of skipped this part of it. Oh. I was just like, I'm kind of sold on that game. I definitely want to give it a try. And I was actually sold from the Xbox presentation once I seen because they showed a little bit more gameplay wise. I was like, okay, yeah, no, this looks all right. Yeah, I'll fuck with this. And so when it came up on here, I was just like, I'm good. It was also very late when I was watching, and I was like, I'm going to bed now. And then I just never watched. I was like, I don't really need to see it. It's fine. I'm sold. Looks neat though.
Naue, the ninja, she has some really excellent moves that I would have killed for in Tenchu.
Yeah, right.
So there's some really good stuff there. I like the what they've been talking about with the seasons changing as the story goes, and that drastically changes how you can stealth around places, right? Because
right.
As the foliage falls off, you can't hide in trees. In the winter, you can't hide in this pond because it's frozen over. Right. But then also the weather affects things. So if it's a downpour, the visibility is shit. So you can actually use that to your advantage. Right. And then of course you've got Yasuke the samurai, who at first I didn't like the fact that he's built like a Mack truck and just kind of is barreling through stuff. But it makes for a really good change up from the stealth gameplay.
They're going for a duality thing.
Yes.
I immediately picked up on what they were doing. I was like, that's a cool way to do that. Yeah. As long as you're playing as both of them. Yeah. That's really awesome.
Yeah. In the gameplay deep dive, there's a part where he fights this boss character, and at the end he gets the guy on his knees and then just whips around with a decapitation move, and I was like, all right.
Yep.
That looks good.
All right. Yep.
Now, we need to see, how big the area is. Is it too big? Is it just right? There's a lot of questions about, is it still going to have, the loot and RPG mechanics as some of the more recent games? So that still remains to be seen. But I am looking forward to it.
Yeah. Seems neat.
Yes.
I think that's about it.
I think, yep, that is about it. Yeah. Shit.
Unless you want to talk about, the Crew 2, or the Skull and Bones update.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention for Matt Jorgensen's sake, because he is a really big Skull and Bones fan.
Okay.
One thing that I did like about what I saw, and I think it was something that I didn't get into with Assassin's Creed 4 that I heard was out there, is they're going deep in the mythological sea creatures that pirates and people on the sea back in the day would whisper rumors of, right? And I think that's really cool. It was funny because oh, go ahead.
I was very bothered by the man talking during that showing, because they couldn't decide if he needed to be looking into the camera or not looking into the camera, and it was driving me insane.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think I do remember that. Yeah. I was like, why
I couldn't get over it. I was like, he's okay. Where is he looking right now? And then he would be looking at like, can you make up your mind as to where he is going to be looking at?
Yeah.
Okay.
That there is a certain type of presentation that really annoys me where, like they'll have like the straight on view where they're looking into the camera, but then they'll just randomly cut to like a side view for no reason. And it's like, why do you have this camera
Why
angle?
do we keep doing that?
Yeah.
What's the logic behind that? I've never been able to figure it out.
I think it's an editing trick to mask like, flubs in the lines and stuff like that. But I'm fine with just seeing a cut.
It's okay. I guess I could see that. So you record two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
But I still don't. It doesn't.
Or just do another fucking take.
Yeah.
The lines aren't that fucking long, man.
Just have an editing.
Or show a clip.
There you go. Yeah. Just cut to a screenshot and then cut
back. Not that hard.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Drives me insane.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, so, that is what we saw. Like, again, there were a lot of other things. There was a whole bunch of other presentations that we did not see. Definitely let us know if there were any games that you guys were really excited about that maybe we didn't cover. And maybe we'll take a look and come back to that later. But one thing that I wanted to do before we wrap up this episode is now with like more release dates shown off, I thought we could take a look at how like the back half of the year is looking now. And I'm hoping, actually, let me double check. I'm assuming, this was updated. I saw it. That's why I picked it. It was updated like 3 days ago. So this should have things pretty up to date. So we'll start with July because we're already almost done with June at this, or halfway through June.
Right.
So
I'm all the way, but yep.
Actually, July is looking a lot more filled out for me than it was before. Maybe not for you, but so July 2nd, there is the First Ascendant, which it's free, so we can at least check it out.
That seems neat.
2 days later is Zenless Zone Zero, which is also free to play, and I kind of want to check out. That's from Hoyoverse, the people who do
okay.
Genshin and stuff like that.
Genshin and Honkai Star Rail and all that stuff. Yeah, okay.
The animation in Zenless Zone Zero is kind of top notch, and it's kind of insane how good that game moves.
Right. There's a Legend of something.
Yeah, there's another Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak, which I'll pick up, but like I'm still trying to get caught up. I'll probably never catch up.
You will never catch up.
No.
Good luck. F1 Manager 2024.
Well, before that, Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn is July 18th.
Oh, right.
Looking forward to that. Kunitsugami is July 19th. Oh, man, that's rough. Those are coming back to back. Shit.
Yeah.
And then I actually am interested in this now. Earth Defense Force 6 is July 25th.
All right.
So I haven't played it. I haven't played one of those since the first one that they released on the 360. So it's about time for me to grab another EDF game, but it might, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So
Frostpunk 2. That's kind of all right.
Yeah. I could see you checking that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. In August,
Star Wars is the big one in August. At least I think it is. Yeah, Outlaws comes out the 30th, but it's end of August. So.
Okay, yeah. There's Black Myth Wukong, but I don't think either of us care about that.
I don't really care. Yeah.
Good Luck to Concord. I think that thing's going to meet with a resounding thud. Did we talk about Concord?
Concord. What was that one? Hold on, let me look at this.
This is that game that was shown at Sony last year, but it was like it was just a CG trailer, and we had no idea what it was.
Okay.
They did another CG trailer at the Sony thing a couple weeks ago, and you still couldn't tell what it was. And then they were like, "Oh, it's a 5v5 Overwatch clone."
Oh yeah, no, okay. Why am I looking at that then? I don't give a shit.
Here's the thing that I thought was really weird about this game is they were like, "We're every month, or was it every month or every week? We're going to have a new like cinematic trailer that deepens the relationship of the characters and lets you get to know them more." And I was like, "That sounds expensive and pointless."
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah,
they're trying to do what Blizzard was doing for a little while with Overwatch when they would release those like character things,
sure,
which were awesome.
Yeah, and
those
Valve used
really
to do
cool.
it for Team Fortress 2,
right? Yeah.
But all that did for Overwatch was make me want like I was like, yeah,
I know,
put these
I know,
characters
but they
in
were
other
always
games.
cool. Yeah, they were always cool. And I feel like that might have been the intent for a little bit there, was like, oh yeah, eventually we are going to do something like that with this universe. And then they kind of just veered in a different direction because it's Activision.
Yes.
So yeah.
September is pretty light, but there's two big ones for me.
Okay.
Astrobot for PlayStation 5.
All right.
And then that's September 6th. And then just a few days later is Warhammer Space Marine 2.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, there's not much here. The Age of Mythology Retold is coming out then if you want to check that out. I keep thinking Star Trekker might have been one that I was kind of half-ass interested in, and I can't remember. I think it's like supposed to be like truck simulator meets like, space.
Huh.
But like more like just truck simulator. Like there's no like weird shit going on. I mean, I don't know how much, but but in space. And I was like, okay, that might be all right.
Yeah.
I feel like there might be a demo for it. I'll have to look into that. We'll see. You're not interested in Funko Fusion, Julian?
I don't even know what that is, Justin.
I don't either, but let's it's Funko Fusion. It turns over 20 Universal franchises into one adventure. You can get, The Walking Dead and Invincible and Jurassic World, and they're all there.
Okay. I think I'm good.
No, you sure?
No, I'm fairly certain.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that's your loss, I guess.
It is, and I will take that.
Right.
That's fine. October is looking kind of light right now, but there are some major ones.
Oh, hold on. I have to say this. Master Detective Archives Raincode Plus is finally off of the Switch, so we all can play it now. Thank God.
Oh wait, is that the one from the Danganronpa team?
Yes, it is. That was on the Switch exclusively, and now it's on other systems, so we can play it.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. That changes a lot.
Yeah, because that was when I was always like, if it wasn't on, I'm not gonna sit here and boot up my Switch for that game. But now that it's on other stuff, yeah, sure, I'll fuck with it.
Hell
Why
yeah,
not?
yeah. Look, I've got to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got to play the Silent Hill 2 remake.
Yeah,
I have to know.
Yo, you have to. Yeah, you absolutely do.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it for sure. I can't wait to watch it. It's gonna be great. Because I also have to know.
But that's October 8th. But then 3 days later is the real star of October. Which is Metaphor ReFantazio.
Yep.
Holy shit, that game looks incredible.
It looks really cool.
Yes.
Yeah, sure does.
I am so excited for that. That game is getting a level of hype that I was not expecting.
Right.
Which is really cool to see.
Persona 5 did a lot for that.
It did, and I'm glad.
Studio. Yeah.
Yeah, for
sure. It really did.
And then at the end of October is Life is Strange Double Exposure for moi.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Bears mentioning, but I've only seen like things like negative, but Undisputed is like this boxing. It's like a boxing game. It's like a fight night.
Okay.
But more indie focused. You can play it right now. It's in early access on Steam.
Boxing has been like really absent from games for a long time.
And I find it interesting. I'm kind of curious, like when it actually like comes out, how it's going to be. People have been kind of mixed on it from what I've seen. So we'll see. I love old box. Me and a group of friends that I had, man, we'd go nuts on fucking fight night. That was fun.
Yeah.
Those were good times.
I will say I'm not seeing it on this list, but I know that like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is in this time frame, so that's probably
somewhere
November. Maybe they didn't say the release date yet, but that's kind of surprising. But I'll definitely be checking that out. But in November, at least right now, the two that stand out for me are Slitterhead and Assassin's Creed Shadows. Oh, yeah. And I guess we skipped... Oh, no, we did say Star Wars Outlaws. Yeah, that was there. Okay.
Yeah, that was there. Dragon Age Veilguard isn't on the list anywhere. And
that is supposed to be around November.
That's supposed to be around in here. I'm going down, like, underneath of it to see what else is here.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, just because, like, some of it doesn't seem like it's, listed.
Yeah.
But... doesn't look like I'm seeing anything else that's super crazy except for that one. That one seemed like a big one that maybe they forgot about.
Yeah.
Is Marathon supposed to come out this year?
I don't think so.
I don't,
because they haven't shown
either.
anything since that reveal.
Yeah, I think some of these are like, that's not actually coming out this year. Like, I don't think Metal Gear Solid is supposed to come out.
No, that definitely isn't.
Yeah.
Oh. One thing
What
that I saw announced on Twitter that I have not seen anywhere, but I just saw it on this list. The Thing remastered from Night Dive Studios, the people who have been remaking like System Shock and stuff like that.
All right,
dude. The Thing on PlayStation 2 is like one of the best like horror/action games I've ever played.
Yeah.
But it is so of its time, it's really hard to go back to because the controls are so fucked.
Yeah.
So getting a modern version of that game that plays like a modern game is going to be so awesome.
Right.
That game has so many cool ideas, and I bet they can even flesh them out a little bit. I mean, they might not want to go too far with that, but I'm very excited for that whenever that happens.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's still a thing.
Still supposed to come out sometime.
Yeah.
Not seeing much else though. Thing remastered. There it is. Totally Spies. Come on now. Sounds good.
Sure.
Ultros.
That's already out.
That already came out. Yeah, that's what I just said. At first, I was like, "Wait, that already came out."
I saw Avowed in that list, and that was last year.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Okay, well, that's that.
But yeah, I think the rest of the year is actually looking really strong. I need to get my ass in gear. I need to kill Moog so I can put Elden Ring down long enough to play something else before the DLC comes out.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm rapidly running out of time because these games are so long, and I've just been kind of like,
agree.
I don't know. Well, I will say the podcast has been taking up quite a bit of time, but then also
it does. It will do that.
I get into this really bad cycle, Justin, where I go to bed at like 1 because I want my free time, but then I'm tired the rest of the day. So when I get off of work the next day, I take a nap until like 8. And then I stay up till 1 because I want my free time, but then I'm tired the next day. So after I get off work, I take a nap. It's a really vicious cycle, and it's drastically impeding my video game time.
Yeah, you'll have that.
Yeah, because I got to eat at some point.
Right.
But sorry. I guess he's wrapping up over there. Hold on.
Oh, all right.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in to Summer Game Awards Fest 3. Really excited about all of the games that came out. Really happy to talk to all of the executives and venture capitalists that came on stage to talk about their deep and complex thought process. There's definitely nothing wrong with capitalism at all, folks. This industry is so strong. Nothing to worry about here. Don't even worry about it. It's not a thing. Don't think about it. Just consume. It's fine. We will see you next year. I've been Keigh Geoffley. Take care, everybody. Goodbye. Oh man, Justin, I'm kind of glad that he's wrapping up. That
it
seems like
I feel
a lot
like he
out there.
Started to forget his name at the end there.
You know, you'll have that sometimes. I do it sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I the only thing that I heard out of that conference that I was interested in was that 22 rifle game. That sounded all right. I'd play that.
That sounded pretty killer.
I mean, I'd play that,
And listeners will want to stick around till after the show because we're going to have the Stage Select After Dark, where we have an exclusive interview with Jacob Washington of Sweet Tea Games. Yeah. So tune in for that. That's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, but I have to go. I'm not going to be there for it. Julian's going to do it.
No, so. yeah, that's fine. We should go ahead and wrap up. Morgan's been over there in the corner, very quiet. I didn't want to mess with him, but he's going to have to kind of start cleaning up the stage.
No, I mean, that's what we hired Abramo for.
Yeah, I let Abramo know last week that he had the week off because, we had the week off, and he was very confused about he didn't seem to remember that he worked here. So like,
oh well, okay.
Is he
fair.
here? Like, have you seen Abramo? Because
I haven't seen him.
Okay.
Right. He probably, well, you told him he had the week off, so he probably just
that was last
took the
week
off.
So
Yeah, he forgets what week it is sometimes, man.
all right. You know,
I'll call him. I'll call him.
It's a work in progress.
it'll be
So
fine.
we'll get it ironed out. He'll get on the schedule. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should go ahead and start wrapping up this part of the show so I can get ready for that interview.
Yeah, for sure.
So as always, you can find us on the internet, Justin.
I am at Tyrone_Swift on Twitter.com. You can also see twitch.tv/Tyrone Swift to see streams that usually will happen on Saturdays. A stream that you probably have missed by the time this comes out will be probably a bunch of Steam Next Fest demos.
Sounds good.
So I'm planning on doing. And then the one after it, I'm either going to play F1 24, the story mode, because that will be hilarious. Though they are terrible, and I can't wait. Or I have found a treasure trove of Chinese first-person dating simulators that I may be looking to get into.
Okay.
Not sure yet. You know, it depends on how I feel that day. But and also, if you want to look at other past streams that aren't archived anymore, because Twitch doesn't really save them for that long that I can tell, unless I'm stupid and don't know how to do it, which is very possible. You can also go to Tyrone Swift TV on YouTube. It's there. It exists.
Okay. I will also add that to the link tree. Justin's Twitch is also in the link tree, which is in the show notes. Also, I got to say real quick, my friend Blissy watched you doing the WWE Create stream, and she found that highly fascinating, because she says, like,
really?
I've heard him talk about it like over and over, but it was a different thing to actually see it. So,
that was a different kind of stream, because that was like me being informative, at least trying to be. So yeah, it was I remember doing that when I was like, I just want to do it once, just so I can point to people to it, I guess. So there we go.
And then you can find me at Julian_Titus on Twitter. You can find the show on Twitter at Stage Select Pod. Be sure to hit us up for any questions, comments, and concerns. You can email us. The email address is thestageselectpod@gmail.com. You can DM us on Twitter, or you can go into the questions, comments, concerns thread on our Discord, which is also in the link tree in the show notes. Next episode will be a more normal episode, so we've got some questions, comments, and concerns. We should probably check in with Sherwin Williams. There's some stuff for him.
Yeah.
So Justin, give him a call.
I will.
And
I gotta call him. I gotta call Abramo.
Mm-hmm. It's a whole
I don't
thing.
like making phone calls, but it's fine.
It's fine.
Those guys are fine.
No, we're running a business here. Like phone calls are part of it. So,
I won't lie. I text message people a lot, but it's fine.
Yeah, I just worry that if you text message Abramo, he's not going to see it for a few days. He seems like that type of guy.
No, I'll call him.
Yeah,
I'll video chat that motherfucker. Then he can look at me.
Yeah,
yeah.
All right, but that's going to do it for this edition of the Stage Select. I've been Julian Titus. He's been Justin Ham. Special thanks to Keigh Geoffley for his show and giving us some money to rent out the Stage Select Theater.
Yeah.
We've been the Stage Select, signing off.
Uh-huh.
The Stage Select is copyrighted and owned by Space Monkey Mafia Productions, specializing in independent podcasting. Please consider sharing the show with your friends and support us by joining our Patreon or donating to our coffee. Thank you, and good night.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking around to the Stage Select After Dark. We just had the Summer Game Awards Fest 3. And a lot of good reveals done there. A lot of insightful discourse from C-suite people at video game companies. You always love to hear that. That's always my favorite part of this time of year. But we have a very special guest sitting on the couch here backstage. We have Jacob Washington from Sweet Tea Games.
Well, how you doing? Am I allowed to talk now?
Absolutely. Yes.
Oh, all right. Cool. Yeah, you told me like not to talk during that whole thing, and that's not usually how I do things. We just talk where I'm from.
Sure.
You know? Right.
Yeah. And we're here to talk about your new game, 22 Rifle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a game. You go out there and you shoot that there 22 rifle.
Yeah.
What else you want to know about? I mean, I said a lot of them there on that stage there.
Yeah, I heard your interview with Keigh. I guess I'm a little
right.
I kind of wanted to pull on a thread that he kind of glossed over because I have concerns.
All right.
I guess. How does your game have like some weird Southern politics to it, Jacob? Is this like a real like stand your ground law type of? No, man. Listen. There ain't much to do where I'm from. Okay.
So you just go out there and you just shoot the old 22 around.
Yeah.
You have yourself a few Miller Lights, and you sit there and you drink them. Obviously, and then sometimes you fill them up with sand so they stack a bit better, and then you put them on that little on some cinder blocks there,
mm-hmm.
and you just hack them up, and then you just shoot them with that there 22. Now we got us a Springfield 22. You ever seen one of them?
I have not.
All right, well it's a nice little gun there. I bought it down there at their flea market down there by the old courthouse. You ever been there? I sure haven't. All right, well, they used to have this there flea market down there by the old courthouse, right? And I was down there, and I seen this old guy. He was down there. He was selling that there Springfield 22, and I was like, oh man, I see that. That's a nice there gun there right there. Now if he's asking about 200 for that, I'm gonna offer him about 175, and I'm gonna see if he's gonna take it. And so I went up there. I said, how much you trying to offer for that there Springfield 22? And he said 200, and I was like, oh man. I don't know. I'll be back, Mm-hmm. And so I left, and I came back, and, after a few hours, I let him stew on it a little bit. And so I was like, would you take 175 for that there Springfield? He's like, I can't do more than 200. And I said, oh, man.
Oh, man. He doesn't know how to dicker.
That's a nice gun right there. I got you. So, I said, well, how about 190? And he was like, oh, well, I reckon I can do 190. And I said, all right. So, I got that there Springfield 22, and, we went on back up the mountain there, and, we got it out, and we, shot some canes that night,
Yeah.
Good night. Yeah, no, ain't no politics involved in that there. That's just having us a good time, Okay. Sometimes we sit out there in the garage, Craig, he's our other developer.
Yeah, I met him,
yeah. Now let me tell you something about Craig. Craig gets out there in that there Cub Cadet, and he be mowing the lawn, and he gets out there, and I tell him every goddamn time, I say, you get too close to them rocks, Craig, you gonna tear them blades up. And he Craig, he don't listen to nobody. So, he gets out there, and he runs over them rocks, and he takes them blades out. And, we got to order some new ones. This time, now, I keep telling him, this is not a good place to order your goddamn lawnmower blades. He gets these blades over at wish.com. You ever heard of that?
Oh, that's classic Craig.
Yeah, you know Craig.
Man.
And you know Craig, let me tell you. And so, we get out there, we put them new lawnmower blades. It seems like once a month we got that dang on lawnmower up there in that lift. And, when we're out there, we're drinking them Miller Lights, and we shooting that there 22. And that's, there ain't no politics involved, Yeah. I try to tell people around here, because, some people around here, they're a little suspect with what they think. But you know what? I'm not about that, Julian. I don't know about you.
No, that's I think we're on the same page there. That's good. That's good to know.
Right.
I did. Jacob, don't take this the wrong way. But you don't really come across like a game developer.
Well, now, Julian, let me stop you right there. Now I'm more of an ideas man. All right. Let me tell you the story about 22 Rival. All right. So we got the idea for the game, right? And while I told you that story, with the lawnmower and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got done with the lawnmower, we got done off the lift. It was too dark to mow at that point. I was talking to Craig. I was like, "Well, what you want to do about this here 22 rifle game that we've been talking about?" He's like, "Well, I reckon we can go talk to Glenn down there. Glenn knows him some computer stuff. I tell you what." And so we both went down there and we said, "Glenn, how would you like to make one of them there video games?" And he said, "Well," and I said, "Well," and then that's the story about that. So mostly Glenn's doing it.
Okay.
And he knows what he's doing. Let me tell you, that boy, he knows his way around a computer. I got a virus once, and I'll tell you what, he got it off of there like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he knows all about them there graphics. Now we've been real good about recording the sounds because he gave us them there microphones like you got right here,
mm-hmm.
and we go out there and we shoot that 22 around and we record it.
Yeah.
And so we got about 100 different sounds different from just that Springfield. Now I got that old Springfield. Craig's got his old Winchester. We out there shooting them things around, and it's a good old time, Sometimes we've been looking into, we've been trying to talk to my old papaw about borrowing his, what you call that damn thing? That there Remington, that Remington 22, and we're going to try to record that too. We want a lot of different types of, 22s in the game. The problem is that we're running into now is licensing. So, that's
sure.
the whole thing. Yeah, right. Because, Smith & Wesson, they won't just let you have the gun in the game. You gotta contact people. And that's a whole goddamn thing, let me tell you.
Yeah. I should get you in touch with this Chinese developer that works on this game called My Destiny Girls.
Oh, right.
Because they don't give a shit about that.
Yeah, right.
They just do it. And
right. But we're trying to do things on the up and up, sure. A little bit. We don't want to get in no trouble with the law now.
Yeah.
We're not them kind of boys, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last time we got in trouble with the law, we was out there going around Norton. 'Cause let me tell you, so we had to go up there to that Walmart. Cause Craig, he got a stain on his shirt. So we had to go. He was like, "Well, I got to go buy me a new shirt." So we, where are we going to buy a new shirt at? Walmart, obviously. So we go down to that there Norton, and we're driving down the road there, and we get there, and he's like, "Oh man, I like this here shirt. It said Built for Tough on it." And I was like, "All right, that's a nice little shirt right there." And he said, by himself, he's like, "While I'm here, I'm going to buy me a new pair of Skechers." And I said, "Well, that's probably a good thing to buy, right?" So, he bought himself a new pair of Skechers. And, then we went back down up the mountain. And, going back up that mountain, Craig, he got that there Honda Civic. He got that little lead foot of his. Let me tell you, he was over that there speed limit. And that sheriff, he pulled him right over. And, he said, how fast he was going that back up there? And he said, "I reckon about 75. And, that cop said, "Yep." And, it was just a little verbal warning,
Yeah.
They knew, they knew we weren't making no trouble. We showed him the shirt. He liked the shirt, we showed him that Built for Tough shirt. I told him where he'd get it at. It was right down there at the Walmart.
I mean, it's probably the only place in your vicinity that probably has shirts, I would imagine.
Well, there's a Walmart. There's a few places over there in Wise, but they're a little bit too much traffic over there. I don't like to go down that way. They got a McDonald's down there.
Oh wow!
I swear to God, it's wrapped around the building every day.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
No, I believe it.
Tell you what. Yeah. What else you want to know about that there 22 rifle game, Julian?
Oh, I actually did have a question. So, you had mentioned on stage that it was more of an open world thing, and obviously, shooting the 22 rifle is a big part of 22 rifle.
Right.
But I was wondering if there was anything mini game wise, is there can you go cow tipping or or like skinny dipping or...
Well, you don't want to tip over them cows. I mean, that's, we've been thinking about that. I was, one day, I'll tell you an idea I had. So, the other day, I woke up and I was like, you know what I want to do today? I want to climb a tree. And so, I got up and I climbed that there tree. And, I sat up there, most of the afternoon, had a lunch up there. Just looked around, sitting up there in that tree. Just having a nice old time. It was very relaxing. I was like, what if I shot that there 22 from up here?
Sure.
And so maybe we put some tree climbing in there. I was talking to my uncle. He's got one of them there, reloading kits. He bought it from my daddy not too long ago. A few years back. You know what that is? That's where, you get them there shells and you put the gunpowder in there. You reload the bullets, basically.
Okay.
So, maybe I was thinking about adding something like a crafting system so you can make new bullets or more bullets. You go pull them 22 shells out there. Now, I pitched that to Glenn and he was like, man, I don't know about that. And I was like, well, and that's about that, how that went down. But, you don't want to go tipping them cows. I was thinking about, we do a lot of stringing beans over there. You ever string them beans?
No, I haven't.
Well, I tell you, it's a lot of work. Well, I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of just sitting around with some beans in a pot, and then you just take the string out of them. So it's so you can can them later, Julian. Yeah, because if you don't do it by, August, you're going to have a lot of beans that ain't getting canned, so you ain't going to have them for the winter. And let me tell you, them beans from out the garden, that's good eating right there.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how that translates to interesting gameplay, but you never know. I mean, I was thinking more along the lines of like maybe like a line dancing mini game, or I don't know.
Well, now you think I see. You're thinking more Tennessee.
Oh, maybe.
See, this is Virginia we're talking about. We don't really do a lot of line dancing up here. Like a mini game to us is we take that old side by side and we go down there to the crossroads and we get like a pizza. Like one of them there. The crossroads is a little gas station down under there by the hill. You ever been on there?
I have not.
All right. Well, it's they call it the crossroads. I don't know why. Yeah. But that's what its name is, It used to be, there used to be another store up there called Walton's, but that done closed, a long time ago. That gas station moved in, that place done closed up, let me tell you. It wasn't too long. I mean, they didn't have much, I like to go down there to the crossroads and buy them little packs of Oreos like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just enough, get me by, Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here on the couch after hours.
Thank you for having me. This is so you make a podcast?
Yeah, that's what this is. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. So you just talk there and then mics and people listen to it.
Ostensibly, yes. That's how it's supposed to work anyway.
I'll be goddamn. Man, what a world we live in.
Let me tell you.
And people just like to listen to you talk about them their video games.
Yeah, so once 22 Rifle comes out, send us a copy and we'll talk about it.
Well, listen. Hey, I like to play them their video games too. Julian, I've been playing that there Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Let me tell you.
Oh, really?
That is a heck of a video game right there.
Yeah.
That old boy, he got a big old sword. He got them noodle arms. I don't know how he swings that damn thing. It's too big for him, Julian. I swear to God. That their dog is on fire, and he can talk, and he knows magic. What a game, man. I can't believe they thought of all that. Can you believe that?
No, I actually can't. I think about it a lot as I'm playing it.
It's wild. I tell you what.
Yeah.
People keep telling me that I'm in for a surprise at the end of that one. Cause I never played the original one. So, don't tell me what happens. But, I got a feeling it got something to do with that there Sephiroth fella. He got a big old sword too, and that white hair.
Yeah.
I don't trust him. He seemed like a bad dude, that dude.
No, yeah, I'm glad you're picking up on that.
Yeah,
that's
right.
important.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll leave you to it, All
right.
If you ever need me on here for some reason, you let me know. I'll come right back on here.
That sounds good. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Thank you so much, Jacob. And good luck with your game. Say hi to Craig for me. And
thank you. I will say hi to Craig. He'll be happy to hear from you, I'm sure.
Yeah. And Justin sends his best. He had to take off early, but he really wanted to be here
I know
for this
that
interview.
Old boy. He's a wild one. That one. He's
really
always
is.
moving and shaking.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Well, I got to tell you that motherfucker is so committed to the bit. It scares me sometimes.
Well, it's kind of wild. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll leave you to it. You have a wonderful night there, Julian. I'll tell you what.
You too. And safe
All
travels back home. And we'll talk to you later.
Thank you. We're going to have to check them tires before we go. We drove all the way out here in that goddamn camper, let me tell you.
Oh,
and
man.
it is not, it's a trailer. We pulled it on Glenn's Toyota Tundra. And I'll tell you what, it's a good vehicle, but we're going to have to check the air pressure on them tires before we leave. Anyway, you don't want to hear all that. I'll talk to you later.
All
Julian.
right.
You have a nice night.
You too. Take care.
All right.
All right, listeners, and that's going to do it for this edition of the State Select After Dark. We hope you enjoyed that interview with Jacob Washington from Sweet Tea Games. Be sure to wishlist 22 rifles coming soon.